Vai novinha safada relaxando, vai na pica safada sem vergonha. Vai sentando na pica doida de maconha. Presta atenção que o bagulho é doidão. Trava essa puta quicando safada. Senta malvada, quica malvada. Trava na ponta da pica e não para. Senta malvada, quica malvada. Trava na ponta da pica e não para. Senta malvada, quica malvada. Trava na ponta da pica e não para. Ai, senta no meu palhaço, vai sentar no palhação. Vai, senta no meu palhaço, vai sentar no palhação.
Naquele pique, só couro brabo, me chamam de proibido, porque eu vicio rápido. Combinação perfeita, sexo, cerveja e maconha. A novinha viciou, tá tudo curtindo a onda. Naquele pique, só couro brabo, me chamam de proibido, porque eu vicio rápido. Combinação perfeita, sexo, cerveja e maconha. A novinha viciou, tá tudo curtindo a onda.
Só socadinha, você tá dando vinho. Só socadinha, você tá dando. Só socadinha, você tá dando vinho. Só socadinha, você tá dando. Só socadinha, você tá dando vinho. Só socadinha, você tá dando.
Esse é o DJ Holanda, tá lançando a nova moda. É o DJ Holanda, imã de piranha.
Welcome to the Sunday night special of the Confluence show, where we are going over Parker versus, what's his name? Never heard of this guy until today. Jesus and Whatnot. This is something Big Soda wanted to go over with Brandon. They're allowing me to do this, so hopefully they both show up here. I think there's some specific timestamps they want to talk about, and apparently Parker got his shit pushed in a little bit, so we're always down to see that, first of all. So if you join, you can click the link that's pinned at the top of the chat. It's also in the description if you think about it. And as always, you must. Good to see you, Confluence. Good to see you, StreamYard. Good to see you, Lobster. Good to see you, Big Soda. Good to see you, Sarcastic Saint, even though I will rip your fucking balls off. Thanks for the engagement, retard. How do you guys not know these acronyms by now? That's crazy. Good to see you, Opanacat. Good to see you, Joseph. And good to see you, Rage Page. And we got people in the back already. We got Alex. I missed you, Alex. How are you?
Hey, man. Good to you.
I'm doing great. You ready to talk about atheism and theism today?
Fuck yeah.
I sure hope so. We got Brett. How's it going, Brett?
Good evening, sir.
Nice to see you. And we got AVG is Joe. What does this say? It's Big Soda, but AVG is Confluence with a wig. That's true. That's actually true. That's actually true. So
Alex abandoned us.
Alex is here.
I know I just missed him.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say I was here and start. Come on, man.
Like, don't abandon us.
Is the stream buffering? I hope not. Good to see you, Ava. But now as we wait for Brandon, so Big Soda, was there a specific timestamp, or like do we start at the beginning, go to the end, and then stop, or like what is the plan here?
I mean, I think the build up, it's like 20 minutes, and then we get into the PSR kind of disagreement, and the PSR, like, that's where it starts to get like super metaphysical, and so like the 20 minutes leading up to it, probably good debate lore, but I don't know if we necessarily need it. I just don't know a good entry point past, I guess, the 20 minutes.
So we should start somewhere around the 20 minutes. Well, while we wait for Brandon, then let's kind of click around and see where we're at. And the PSR is the principle of sufficient reason. I asked Brandon what the difference was between the hard PSR and the soft PSR. The soft PSR, if I'm not mistaken, is just something that, isn't it just that some facts have causes, and then the hard PSR is that every fact has a cause? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Good to see you, Emmett. How's it going? But yeah, I don't. The soft PSR would be something everyone agrees. Well, that's, I guess, the question. I think that's probably, I would get, I don't know. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. I'm assuming it like ties into like the cosmological argument, like the first cause thing. I'm assuming, I don't know. But with the soft PSR, I just feel like, isn't that just like obviously true? Because it just, here's Brandon so we can clear it up. But if I'm remembering correctly, I thought the soft PSR is just that, that there are some facts or some things have a cause. Am I wrong with this, Brandon?
The soft PSRs, and what's up?
I did say hi to you, Oxy.
It's something like for every fact, there's possibly an explanation for that fact, rather than for every fact there is an explanation. That's the strong PSR.
So isn't the soft PSR just like on its face true?
There are people that don't accept it. I'm still a little skeptical because I can imagine something that it's brute in every world where it exists, but it doesn't exist in every possible world, so it's not necessary. But every time it does exist, there isn't an explanation for it. So in that sense, it wouldn't be possible. Hopefully I said that right.
Okay, so maybe I said it wrong the first time. So it's not that some facts have a cause. It's that every fact could have a cause. Is that right?
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying you can imagine worlds where some facts don't even have possible causes to them.
And that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you have a preferred time step? Big Soda says we're jumping in somewhere around the 20 minutes, but he's not sure where. Do you have something in mind, or are we just like kind of doing it?
I don't have anything in mind. We can watch it from the beginning, or if he has a specific party to watch, it doesn't matter to me.
I picked the 20 minutes because that's where the real conversation with the PSR happens. Like before then, it's kind of a lead up to the PSR kind of disagreement.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. And then Brandon, you can co-stream too if you want. I don't know if you know how to do that, but I have that enabled. So if you also want to go live on StreamYard, you should be able to in the upper right.
Okay. Actually, I was going to try on Streamlabs, but fucking StreamYard won't let me use my camera if I'm streaming on Streamlabs, which is R-worded, so.
That is R-worded. All right. It's Emmett. Good to see you, Emmett. And good to see you, Horseradish. Wait, are you telling me the dude on the left is not the same dude as the dude on the right? They're at least cousins, right? They do look weirdly similar. Yeah, now that you mention it, they do have very similar physiognomy.
This is a mock debate. It's actually the same person.
Yeah, this is dressed up Parker versus Mewtwo t-shirt Parker.
Aren't they friends?
No. I think this is their first time actually second time actually conversating. The first time they set this up, and then the second time they actually talked.
So yeah, because they start off with Parker saying, with Jesusandwhatnot saying that Parker's my friend, and then he says, but Parker would say we're not friends. So I'm assuming there's been some disagreement to some level. Parker's just a fucking ass. Just look at him now. Look at that fucking angry ass mug he's got going on. He's already pissed. God, I hate Parker. I'm completely unbiased in this, by the way. Completely. It's not obvious.
That's what I told Brandon. I'm like, I'm biased because like watching the first 20 minutes of it, I think Parker's a fucking dick, and it's like the Jesusandwhatnot guy's trying to carry this conversation on, and I think Parker's being a little fucking prick.
Okay, maybe we should, dude. Start from the beginning.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Maybe we do start from the beginning. Let's see if we can do like a 1.5.
1.5 could be fine.
It was funny in the beginning, him saying he was going to do this debate from the bathtub. Mog his ass.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Okay, so hopefully we'll at least skip past intros.
Yeah, demonstrable. I think we can prod.
Or not intros, but just, you know what I mean.
I am obviously a Catholic. Most people know that at this point. And I do think that I know why we're here. I think we're here to serve and to glorify God. And I think that the existence of that God, which we are here to debate today, is demonstrable. I think we can.
That was the joke, Saint.
Using
that was the joke.
Alone. Now, to come to know the divine essence. What's that?
Was that you playing that?
I'm not playing anything.
You're trolling.
I'm not playing
Where'd Alex go? Alex already left.
I'm not.
You already dipped.
Oh my god, no. Oh my god, hold up. It's the TikTok stuff. Oh my god, hold up. Let me turn my fucking GIFs off. Sorry, that was in the middle of the conversation. Let me turn that off.
You're good. Yeah.
TikTok added the stuff where they like have all these like sounds.
Yeah,
oh my god, it's actually unhinged.
Yeah, no, I got it. You're good, man. No worries.
One
about
second.
that.
I was like, are you trolling me?
No,
I think this lasts about 30 to 60
I
seconds
actually considered
fixing this.
doing that as a troll too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it'd be funny
Only when I was on live.
if we both joined
You
up
skip a bit.
in our bathtubs. That kind of just be weird.
If you're feeling
Yeah, that would
risky,
have been really weird.
Yeah, I think that would have insinuated things that we are not intending for this debate. This is PG-13 at most type of debate. But hopefully, we can just keep it G.
You know,
And they do. Ever since Horse said that, now I do think I'm looking at the same guy.
Almost said
I'm also
stroke
been
as a
face
past tense
blind.
of strike.
diabolical, dude. That would have been clipped. That would have been clipped for sure.
Yeah, that would have been pretty embarrassing.
Wow, Veggie, what a surprise. You think Jaw's being bad faith. What a surprise.
On the live stream.
What a
for sure.
surprise, Veggie.
sure.
I'll move you up, Brandon, since you're cammed up.
Wait, hold up. Give me one second. I need to turn off the. I'm not actually like sure. I keep forgetting how to turn off the GIFs.
he's just a good old boy. Look
I
at
might just
him.
have to- Advanced settings. No. Sorry, I don't mean to do this in the middle of the stream. Let me just.
Yeah, you do, Parker.
You see how
You
bad
do.
faith this is? This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Welcome
Yeah,
back,
I
everyone, here on
couldn't be
TikTok.
arsed to
They
even
have
set
a
up my
really
audio.
nice
I got
for the audio,
TikToks
so
going
we're
right
gonna
now,
talk a
kinetic
little bit
sand in the
about that. Yeah,
background. It's like, fuck off,
Lose
man.
some people, it's okay though. No big deal.
Listen to heavy metal.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Start. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the best way to do this, we haven't really talked like format at all, but I think the best way for us to kind of address this is I can present like a positive case for the existence of God, and then you can kind of be like, hey, I think that's stupid. Here's why I disagree. And then we can kind of just turn to like open dialogue.
I mean, yeah, if you'd like. I mean, I'm down to do super informal and just like run through our conversation, like conversational, if you want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. But I will request that you let me at least like present the case first, just so that it's like people know why it is that I believe in God.
How dare you,
I think that's
Dusty.
the most efficient way.
Of course. Go ahead.
All right.
Start with the argument. Give us your argument for why you think a God exists, and like for your specific understanding of God, of course.
Yeah. So obviously, for people who don't know, I'm a Thomist, so I'm going to be using St. Thomas's argumentation and his philosophy. It derives a lot of its thinking from Aristotelian metaphysics. And my claim is that we can conclude from natural reason that there's actually a necessity for the classical definition of God. So there's 4 premises that I'm going to go to, and then there's 3 conclusions that come from those premises. So the first premise is that all contingent things require an efficient cause. So a contingent thing is just something that does not have to exist. So for example, like this pen does not have to exist, but rather it only exists because someone made it. If nobody made this pen, it wouldn't exist, and therefore it doesn't have to exist. So all of these contingent things do not exist of themselves, but rather they exist.
Brief pause. Ivor, Big Soda, since you were talking with Ivor about all this stuff, I'm curious if at any point, if Jaw says something that is like contradicts with what Ivor was saying about the sufficient, the necessary, the contingent.
I mean,
if you remember, because he somehow was using those to say that God couldn't exist or it'd be impossible. Obviously, Jaw's coming to a different conclusion. And so if you notice something that feels different about how they're defining something or what because I was trying to follow Ivor's thing. I don't think I gave enough time and was kind of lost on it. So
I don't think I don't think like in the first 20 minutes he doesn't like violate anything that Ivor said. I think because he doesn't really expound more on the Thomas Aquinas kind of I guess definitions of, because it seems like with Ivor, him placing the sufficient cause in there kind of differentiates the Thomas Aquinas argument, because Thomas Aquinas doesn't use efficient, he uses necessary. And so
right.
if I guess Ivor's first premise, it uses a sufficient cause argument, then that's different than, I guess, Thomas Aquinas' necessary argument, because apparently these two definitions are distinct, and I didn't know that, but
yeah, I'm not too booked up on all the stuff. I do like Aquinas, but
because something caused it to exist. Apples don't exist, or apples don't have to exist. They only exist because a tree made them. Computers do not have to exist. They only exist because a company manufactured it. And all of these contingent things require an efficient cause that gives them existence. Now, premise 2 is that nothing can be its own efficient cause. Nothing can cause itself to exist. I think we can all kind of agree on that, because causality implies something being prior to another. So for example, the pen can't cause itself to exist because before the pen existed, there was just no pen. So how could something that doesn't exist cause itself to exist? It doesn't really make any sense. And yeah, so that's premise 2. Most people are good on that one.
Wait, premise 2?
Yeah, nothing can be its own efficient cause.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Premise 3.
okay, I'm already using AI.
okay. So Brandon, what's the difference between a sufficient cause and what did he fucking say? An efficient cause.
If I'm being honest, I don't really remember. I want to say an efficient cause is like a cause, something that's caused by an agent. I could be wrong about that though. A sufficient cause is just I don't know if I remember a sufficient cause. I think it's just something that sufficiently explains the effect. Maybe I really don't remember.
Do they
remember the
really
way
go
Ivor
into these?
explained
Because
it to
then
me.
maybe we should look them up, or is this
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
we don't really
No,
go
I-
into too much?
I
don't think they go
would
into it
because
too
there's a
much.
distinction.
We can GBT it really quick though.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Necessary cause, a condition that must be present for something to happen. Example, oxygen is necessary for ordinary fire to burn. Sufficient, a condition that, if present, guarantees the outcome. So the example is having 4 equal sides and 4 right angles is sufficient for being a square. And then that's a sufficient cause. And an efficient cause is the agent or process that actually produces the effect. Okay, so it seems like you're right, Brandon, right? Where it's basically a sufficient cause that has an agent attached to it. So the example is striking a match is the efficient cause of the match igniting. The key distinction: necessary, you can't have the effect without it. Sufficient, if you have this, the effect follows. Efficient, what actually makes it happen. Okay. And then under Aristotelian stuff, there is also the final cause. What is its purpose end? I guess that would be like the teleological part of it, but I don't know if that's going to be relevant. Okay.
Exist in series or sometimes called chains. So since all contingent things have efficient causes before them, even the causes themselves, if they are contingent, have prior causes. For example, a pen is caused by a manufacturer, but the manufacturing company was caused by the person who started the company, and the person who started the company was caused by his parents, and so on and so on and so on. This is a chain.
Wait, yeah, okay, so humans are contingent. They're also sufficient causes to make other humans, and they're also efficient causes because they're the agents making the other humans. So are they all 3 of those things? Am I understanding this right?
No.
I think so. That sounds right to me.
Okay. I'll accept it.
That's dumb.
Sounds right to me. Why is it dumb? Isn't that true?
It's
No. Go ahead.
well,
Dennis.
good. I was going to say go ahead.
Soda.
I was just going to say with the Ivor example, Ivor was using his I guess syllogism to prove that God or the first cause must be contingent. And I ain't gonna lie, halfway through it kind of wrapped me up and I was confused. And so I agreed with him. But then thinking about it, I was like, well, no, I don't think that does make sense because I don't think like I guess to make that line of thinking that the first cause is contingent, then that would be the first cause being God. I don't think God can be contingent.
Bingo.
Right.
And that's where Ivor.
What did you disagree, I guess, with what I said, Brett, that humans are contingent in that they don't have to exist. They're also sufficient to make other humans, because if you have humans having sex and a sperm meets an ovum, then you will get another human. And they're efficient because they're the agent that's causing the other human to exist. You seem to disagree with that.
I guess because it doesn't seem like an accurate analogy in the chain of God, a God that's a creator.
We're not talking about God at all right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I see.
I agree with you, Koplo. I think that's accurate to say.
Okay.
Like the human wouldn't
move
be
into the God, but we're just defining what these terms mean philosophically about what efficient cause. Yeah.
I'm slow.
Right. And I don't know if I need to go into. If the conversation is going to keep building, I don't want to get like lost in the sauce like in the first like 5 minutes.
Of causality, and it can also be referred to just as a causal series. Now, premise 4 is that a causal sequence cannot regress to infinity. So this is the last premise. Causal sequences, or these causal chains, cannot go back forever, because if they did, then the sequence would never begin to exist in the first place. This is something that a lot of people are pretty good on because it's pretty obvious. There's 2 analogies that can kind of help you understand this a little better, though. The first analogy is this. Imagine if you have like a train pulling a
I'm right here. Love is light.
And the train,
Proof is in the pudding.
in the first place if there wasn't an engine pulling the train in the first place, right? So in the same way, causal sequences can never begin unless there is something that causes it to begin, a first cause, if you will. The second analogy is pretty similar, but it uses a chandelier. If a chandelier is held up by a chain, right? If the chain just goes on forever to infinity and it never connects to a ceiling, then the chandelier would simply just fall to the ground and nothing would be holding it up, right? Because it doesn't connect to anything. It's not grounded in anything. However, if there is a ceiling, the chain will be grounded in something and be able to be held up above the ground. So in a similar way, causal sequences can never like go back to infinity. They have to have a definitive beginning. So like the ceiling would be the definitive beginning, and then the causal chain would be the chain of the chandelier. So there's 3
Brandon, not to bring up Agrippa's trilemma this early on in this goon sesh, but you would say that's not necessarily true, right? Because you could be an infinitist and you could think that there is infinite causal changes. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't see because he's saying it's impossible, which is a strong claim. I don't see why that's impossible. He would have to derive some sort of like contradiction from that. And I don't think, because he's a Thomist, right? So he's big into Aquinas and stuff. I don't even think Aquinas thinks that. He might think some infinites are impossible, but I don't think he necessarily thinks the type of infinite that I'm going to call him Jaw. That's what everybody else calls him. That Jaw is talking about is impossible. This might just be his own thing.
Okay. Brief question.
Is Jaw Jesus whatnot?
Yeah.
Why are you calling Jaw and not Jew?
Because it's an A. It's and, not and.
Jesus and whatnot.
Exactly. Sería Jehová and todo, right? Call him Jew. Nobody cares. Fucking Jew. The point is,
do you not like this guy? I'm getting the feeling you don't like this guy.
His acronym should be Jew, okay? It's not my fault. Jaw.
I don't think you know how acronyms work, brother. It could be John. It could be John. That would make sense.
John.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be Juan.
Juan.
Okay, whatever.
I like calling him Juan, actually. I'm down with that.
Hello, Juan.
Okay, briefly, the infinitism. Is there, like, I know you're saying, Brandon, it's not logically possible, but you've also said that you understand that people, like, have an intuition that it sounds like nonsense. Is there any practical examples these people ever give of an infinite cause? Or is this just something like, well, it's not logically impossible? Or is there actually something they could point to hypothetically where they're like, yeah, this is some way that people could understand this, how you could have a infinite causal chain with no starting point?
I don't, there probably is like a typical example philosophers use. I don't know what that would be. I just think about it like, do you remember the moment before that just happened? And then the before that, and before that, and before that? What if that just went on forever? I think that seems like intuitive. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, but no examples that we could actually, because that would be like an empirics question, I guess. Like if there was a first point in time, like so, I guess we could imagine that there's not.
I can't actually show you an infinite right now, or something.
Right.
I think I could do that.
But would it be counterintuitive to the idea of the universe as we conceive it right now? For example, when we talk about the Big
Thanks,
Bang.
Testy. Thanks for the engagement, retard.
It might be once you start talking about like certain laws of physics and like thermodynamics, maybe it becomes more counterintuitive, but that's out of my wheelhouse. But that might be true.
Okay. I mean, I would reject the idea of infinite regress as a possibility due to the idea of the Big Bang or some physicalism in some senses, if I was a pure physicalist. And I think that is some of the problems that some, for example, Hawkins had when he come to the idea of, the Big Bang. In some cases, he rejected his own premises later on in life because it didn't make sense it contradicted the idea of infinite regress. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember with Webb here, where it's like I feel like there's something intuitively wrong about infinite regress, but it's hard to tease out any actual issues. Yeah, like if I was like tasked with constructing some logical thing on like why it's impossible, I feel like I would struggle. It really does feel like intuitively it seems like, but maybe I'm just such a foundationalist that I'm like that just sounds like retarded to me.
I mean, my mind always goes to like the Interstellar thing where it's like a bunch of time slices. Just imagine an infinite number of those. To me that seems like very intuitive. Like, yeah, okay, something like that could be possible.
Yeah, but the only thing I would say with that is if you actually have the idea of the Big Bang, it comes to a point in which the infinite regress becomes this center point in which there was no time. So if that is the case, how do you regress from it?
Yeah, I mean, that probably depends on your understanding of the Big Bang and whether or not the singularity does have like a beginning point, or if you do think it's kind of like, I don't know if Zeno's paradox is a good example, but it just infinitely just keeps going back but we just can't see that for some reason.
I thought the new argument is that there was just this already pre-established, material that just formed. Is what their new thesis is, and it's like okay.
Yeah, I just had God
I don't
before
know.
it. It's the same, right? It's just a foundationalist principle. If you're gonna go with that, we can presuppose whatever we want, which is
Yeah.
fine.
I don't agree with it.
It's just like I said, the point of my critique on infinite regress is not that infinite regress is not possible in the logical format. It's more impossible as what we know in the physical sense of the universe, because if we go back, we go to the singularity, and from the singularity there is no regression possible. Even if you think that there was a principle or not, you still are at a point in time where there is no time. So like, where are you regressing to? That is the question.
problem is that gets
and
into
it would
like the
be-
empirics of shit, or I don't know if that's the right word in this case because you're not really testing things, but I guess the boots on the ground, what's actually happening, because there is like outside my wheelhouse, obviously, but the physicists that like talk about, well, it's like cyclical of like big crunches and big bangs and stuff, and it's like I have no way to kind of measure if that's like a possibility in our physical universe. So it's like, but if that was, well, then that could be like an infinite causal chain that happens in reality.
Yeah,
right?
but
So
for what we
I just
know,
don't know. I don't know enough cosmology to like know if that's true or not.
for what we know in the cosmological sense, it's not even cyclical, because what we see is instead of looking at the thing, the expansion of the universe keeps on. The expansion keeps on going on. It keeps accelerating. So what we are looking at when we see the acceleration of it is the destruction of the universe in a sense, instead of it becoming a cyclical thing. So at the end of the day, we don't know, but the facts that we know doesn't lead us to any idea of cyclicality. And if we go back to the point of what we know of time, if we are in a point where there's no time, how are you going to regress? So that would be that's my criticism to infinite regress when it comes to if you're a pure empiricist.
Good to see you, Mr. And I agree with what you're saying completely. And Web of Concepts, I think I've talked with Brandon about this very thing. I don't think he finds it compelling, but I find it compelling that, I don't see how we could reach, the present moment if there's an infinite sequence of the past. And I think this is like what William Lady Craig says too. And but it's more of like an intuition where it just feels like, if there's an infinite spreading of the past, I don't think you could ever arrive at the current time. Similar to like a number line. If it's truly infinite, then it's like, when you start counting, well, then you would never get to like 6 because you're starting from negative infinity. So like, to me, that just seems obvious, but like, I have no way of like putting that into like a fucking syllogism or whatever.
Do you want me to comment on that?
Sure, yeah, if you want.
Because you said, well, if you would start counting, you would start from negative infinity, but it's not that you would start counting. It's that you would have always been counting, and then you get to -6 or whatever, or 6. But then always been counting, bro. You never started.
I guess, but then then how do you ever get to 6?
No,
you just keep counting.
Yeah,
you're counting from negative infinity, which isn't a start, by the way. I'm not saying
from negative infinity.
You are
counting,
but that's what negative infinity means. Like, negative infinity means you've always been counting, right? Just like negative infinity isn't an actual number on a number line. It just means you go endlessly back. And so, I mean, but if you, how do you ever get to 6 on a number line?
Yeah, but Confluence, you're thinking about counting as a thing that you are doing. So you're framing it as a point of reference. But when it comes to if you're thinking about it as something that has always been happening, the point of reference becomes you are the point of reference as to when you decide to start counting and from what number.
Right, but so I'm here now.
The fact that things are happening doesn't mean that you go to the point.
Right, like I know that time, whatever time is, it's a sequence of events, and I know this sequence of events that's happening now happens sequentially later than 5 minutes ago, and I know that sequence of events happened later than 5 minutes ago. So it feels like we just keep doing that, and we just I don't see.
Yeah, but that is a point of reference issue. So if you look at mathematics, there are like infinite answers to problems, but the problem with the problem is how you are referencing it.
Right.
So
Okay. I think I agree with that. Okay, I think I actually agree with what you're saying.
There's no actual problem in the mathematics in the sense of
you're right. You're right.
The problem is how you're referencing it.
Yes. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Because I'm not saying that like 6 can't exist because you have negative infinity. But yes, I'm saying where the rubber meets the road is that we are at this point in time. So you could imagine us at, let's say, being, if you put like the years on a number line, then we're in like 2026 on that number line. So we have a point of reference. If we didn't exist and there's no consciousness, then I think I'd agree. It's like, then you have no reference point, then, and the whole, sure, you have like infinite, there's really no problem with that. But we know we're at a specific point in time. We know that there's a future, we know there's a past. So we are the 6 on the number line. And so now we've entered into the number line. And so now it's like, well, then how do we ever get here at this point in number line? So like that point of reference is the problem. So yeah, I'm not saying that, in mathematics, you couldn't have the number 6. But I'm saying if you are the number 6 and you're counting by 1, then you could never get to be the number 6, you know?
Yeah, but the answer, even though it's an insufficient answer in my point of view, the answer could be it's contingent upon where we are. And we are like, if you pretend that you're some kind of accident in the universe, and you have to happen this specific reference point as an accident, and there's no actual meaning behind it. That doesn't mean that there was not a negative infinitive of actions that happened to the point of you being here, right? The infinite regress is still a thing. It's just that you cannot, you don't have access to the point where you can count that infinite infinity, which is, once again, I don't believe this, and I think it's all dumb when it comes to the infinite regress position. But it's not necessarily a contradictory position.
It seems.
Yeah, I don't think it's logically contradictory. By the way, Testy, we're co-streaming, so I don't need anyone to tell me. I can just pull up your little chat, you little squirrel. I can just pull it up, just like I just did. I know you're in Brandon's chat. It freaking tells me. Anyway, keep going.
Get fucking wrecked, Testy. Sorry, buddy.
Okay, let's keep going with the video.
I don't get the numerical comparison, except to lead somebody down a path that you can shatter it. You know, like, it just doesn't make sense to me why you would be getting into numerical values to prove a sequence of events in a theoretical sense. It just doesn't make sense when we're talking about the creation of all things.
Why I'm bringing it up? Well, I'm bringing it up to say
they would be arguing that from that frame.
I don't know if they did bring up.
Yeah, he brings up infinity, and if you believe in infinity, do you believe there's a I forget how he worded it.
StreamYard can, horse. So we're on StreamYard. If you're on StreamYard, then you can co-stream. So YouTube you can't, but you can't co-stream, but we're able to share chats this way.
Yeah, it might be further in the debate.
If I really quick before we continue, if I post right here, right? If I like type something out, does this go in my chat or your chat or both?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
I think it should be both. Yeah.
That's my understanding.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I can do a test.
Let me see what I'm seeing.
Yep, it goes on both.
Yes. Yeah, if you type something in StreamYard, it will get sent to both.
Test and Gunnar test.
Yeah, I had to separate myself from you.
Shit.
Conclusions that can come from this. The first conclusion is that since causal series cannot regress to infinity, there must be a first uncaused cause. So if every causal series requires a beginning, there must be a first cause that is at the beginning. And this first cause must be uncaused, because if it had a cause, then it would no longer be at the beginning of the chain. It would just be another chain within the chain. The second conclusion is that the uncaused cause is not contingent. And this is from the previous premises. As we stated before, the uncaused cause has no cause before it, which means that it exists according to its own nature. So there is no reality in which the first cause does not exist. In other words, the first cause exists as a necessary being. The third conclusion is that since the uncaused cause is a necessary being, it is also 100% act and 0% potency. If you don't know what act and potency are, potency is a real capacity that something has to become a way other than it is. So for example, the Communist Manifesto, which I have, it has the passive potency to burn, but it's not currently burning. So it has the capacity to burn, but it's not burning.
Oh, it could be.
Now,
It should be.
actuality is the fulfillment of that potency. So, for example, if I hold a lighter to the bottom of the communist
Do it.
and I burn it,
Do
that
it.
would be an actualization of the potency.
Coward.
That it
Don't
has.
do it, that's with a
It's the
good
capacity
time.
to burn. That is the potency, and then causing it to burn would be actualization. That would be the act. Now, the uncaused cause must be pure act, because if it had any potency, there would have to be something prior to it that would determine its potency. And this would violate the fact that our uncaused cause is uncaused. It just wouldn't make any sense. It would be a continuous loop of nonsense. And I actually lied. There's 4 conclusions. I forgot about one. It's the most important one, that this first cause is the classical definition of God. Since the first cause has no potency and it has no capacity to change, that means that it can never gain or lose knowledge, power, love, or perfection. Pure act can also cannot lack any perfection that belongs to being, because potency is the lack of perfection that could be potentially possessed. Therefore, all perfection of being is found in its fullest sense in the first cause. This first cause must have unlimited knowledge, ultimate power, unlimited justice. And this being is the first cause of the universe. It's the beginning of the causal chain and has all perfection of knowledge, power, and justice. And that is what classical theism defines as God. So that's kind of how you can prove using natural reason that a God exists. And Parker, I'm interested to hear what your refutation of that would be.
Yeah, so there's a few things I could point to specifically here with this argument. One is that I could dispute the idea that there can't be like an infinite causal chain, like an infinite sequence. I guess I could ask the question: do you believe in infinities in math?
Say again?
The numbers? You believe there
Oh
can be
yeah,
infinite
okay,
numbers?
they are going
I
number
believe that
lines.
infinite numbers can exist conceptually, but I don't think in an infinite causal regress they can exist because of the analogies that I presented. If something is receiving its being from something else, there has to be a first cause of the being itself.
Okay, so I think that you're saying it can exist in numbers, but not in a causal chain. What's the relevant difference of it being able to exist within numbers, but not a specific causal chain?
Yeah, so numbers are not necessarily contingent in their being upon the thing that came before it. So, for example, I can have -3 as a concept in my mind without necessarily having -2. Now we can kind of show that this is something that's necessary.
Well, that's where they're going, Testy. That's where they're going.
No, but before we do, like, you're disagreeing that infinite is not contradictory, right?
Infinite regresses are. I think you're failing to recognize the distinction between an infinite regress from causality versus just infinite numbers existing conceptually.
Okay, well, the understanding is that if an infinity can exist, at least an infinity in the context of a sequence of numbers, again, I need to be very clear on why that infinite sequence cannot exist within a causal chain. It seems like the only contradiction that you could probably provide is the infinite sequence plus a specific individualized circumstance, right?
Okay,
Like
yeah,
providing an individualized circumstance rather than like the infinite sequence in of itself being contradictory.
Yeah, so I'm trying to help you explain the distinction between a conceptual infinite chain versus a causal infinite chain, because there is a contradiction within causality, because we're saying that there is causality, and saying that causality originated from no beginning cause is falsely logical. It's illogical. So I'll give you the analogy that
That's
I was
just to
referencing
repeat
before.
the
It's from
claim,
Robert
by the way.
Kuhn. It's called the paper passer analogy. Imagine that you have like a bunch of people in a line, right? And there's 2 things that could happen. You can receive a blank piece of paper or a piece of paper with somebody's name written on it. And if you receive a blank piece of paper, then you take it and you write your name on it and you pass it to the next person.
Can I
Now,
ask you a
let's say you're
question,
somewhere
Brandon,
in
real
that
quick?
line. It's absolutely impossible for you to ever.
Sure.
Do you think there's a difference between a conceptual idea of infinite regress versus a material idea of like an objective idea of infinite regress?
Probably, yeah. I mean, probably definitionally. Yeah, one is we're just talking about in our head, I guess, and one we're talking about something that exists independent of our minds.
Do you think that, well, I think that's what he is trying to say when it comes to the restatement of the claim. Not necessarily
think
that
so.
he did a good job, but it was just like me, I think that's the clarification they're trying to make, even though
Yeah,
I don't think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is the sort of clarification he's looking for. I think that was clear. I think Parker understood, because he's saying he brought like a given circumstance. He added that in along with the numbers. He's saying, well, you're saying the only difference is that there's like a circumstance attached to the number, maybe. I think so. I think Parker is tracking. I think so.
You passed a piece of paper that is blank, because you're being passed it by somebody who just had the same situation where they could write their name on the piece of paper. And if you keep going back and back forever, there's actually never going to be someone who is receiving a blank piece of paper from somebody who is sitting before them. There has to be some beginning. There has to be somebody who actually starts the chain and writes their name upon it. So that's why it can't go back to infinity. It's simply not possible through causal chains. Now, again, I'm not denying that infinity can't exist in a conceptual number way, but through causal sequences, I would deny that fact.
So what was the contradiction?
That you're saying that there is a cause and that there is being that is being actualized, so there's potency being actualized, but then you're not providing any grounding for how it is being actualized. So if you can tell me, where's the origin?
What's the contradiction? The P and not P.
Wait, what's the contradiction?
P and not P.
Where's the origin?
What's the contradiction?
The P and not P is that you're saying that there's being without a origin of being. So I'm not saying.
Wait, so saying that there's being. Wait, so when we're saying that there's an origin of being, we're just saying that origin is explained by an infinite sequence.
It's fallacious. You're saying that there's no origin.
So it's fallacious or contradictory?
It's a non sequitur. I never claimed.
Wait, is it a non sequitur or is it contradictory?
It's a non sequitur. It's fallacious.
So it's not contradictory.
God, I hate
Fallacies are
Parker.
Still illogical. So just because it's not necessarily absolutely contradictory in a one-to-one doesn't mean that it's not still illogical.
Okay. So just to clarify, there is no contradiction with an infinite regression. Under
Not in a
I can't tell if Brandon knows he's muted or not, or if he's talking to someone else.
Oh no, I was talking shit to you. I think Parker's right here. I think he's taking the right route.
I think he's being a fucking jerk off. That's what I think.
Well, complex. I actually think that Parker is right here because I think he slips up and says that it's contradictory, and I think he meant to say it's illogical. And so I think
Look,
Parker.
he might be right. He's a jerk off. That's my point.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's fair. Hey, that's fair.
It's not a productive way to ask these questions. You're just trying to trip him up. Okay, I don't like it. Now, Jaw is the one being a twat right now. I don't think so. I don't think he's being a twat. He might even be wrong here. He's not being a twat.
Exactly. I don't think he's being a twat. I don't think he understands what Parker's asking for, and I think he is trying to give his view, and he may just be using the wrong terms because he did say impossible, but now he's saying it's not contradictory. I think he's just using language in a way that isn't very clear to Parker or me.
Yeah, I don't think he's being like super precise here. But I think there's better ways to ask someone to what they mean instead of this like, well, is it this or this? Oh, now you said it's a non sequitur. Is it this or this? It's just like it's fucking. This makes me angry. Okay, it just makes me angry.
Dude. You got to clip farm.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's fucking clip farming. I can't stand Parker. Okay, I can't stand him. I'm unbiased, by the way, in this whole debate. But I can't stand this guy, and I always agree with what Jaw is saying here, even though I never heard of him before.
I was unbiased.
With there being a infinite series or sequence of events of contingency being the explanation for contingent things.
Yeah. So allow me to give you a little example. We'll use the Communist Manifesto again. So I can light this Communist Manifesto on fire.
Exactly.
Now, if I say that it spontaneously combusts and that there was absolutely no origin of the heat that caused that to happen, it would be fallacious still because there's no origin of the heat. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a one-to-one contradiction. But we could say that it's fallacious to say that there is an effect without a cause.
So again, what's the fallacy?
It's a non sequitur. You're saying that there's an effect without a cause or without an origin of cause.
Well, saying the origin of cause is explained by an infinite sequence.
This comes from first principles of Aristotle. Do you know the first Aristotelian principles?
Can you?
Why is he
saying me a
saying?
specific question? Can you just answer my question that I just?
Well, I'm trying to, but I'm asking.
Yeah,
you know the first
pause because this is where our me and Brandon's conversation was.
That's
Okay.
the Jay Dyer move right there.
Go ahead and say what you were about to say, Brandon.
Can you rewind it like 10 seconds? I don't know why he's saying it's a non sequitur to say that there is an effect that has a cause, but there isn't like a first cause. What is fallacious about that? Why is that a non sequitur? It's not like somebody's giving an argument when they say that. They're just like expressing a view. So to say it's a non sequitur seems like a category, or it's not like the person's giving an argument that that's true. It's just like explaining a view. I just don't understand why he's saying it's fallacious.
I agree. It doesn't sound well. Yeah, we'll go back, but yeah, it doesn't sound to me like it's a non sequitur.
An origin of cause.
Well, saying the origin of cause is explained by an infinite sequence.
This comes from first principles of Aristotle. Do you know the first Aristotelian principles?
I may have to go back a little further.
Be fallacious still because there's no origin of the heat, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a one-to-one contradiction. But we could say that it's fallacious to say that there is an effect without a cause.
So again, what's the fallacy?
It's a non sequitur. You're saying that there's an effect without a cause or without an origin of cause.
Well, saying the origin of cause is explained by an infinite sequence.
This comes from first principles of Aristotle. Do you know the first Aristotelian principles?
Can you ask me a specific question? Can you just answer my question that I just?
Well, I'm trying to, but I'm asking if you know the first principles of Aristotle.
That's in response to the question I just asked you to deflect away from the question I just asked you.
You don't know the first principles that I'm working
so
with?
You're acting like I don't know it because I'm not answering rather than answering my question.
Yeah. It's okay if you don't know. I'm just asking, do you know?
Can you answer my question?
Who's being the twat?
I'll tell you.
He's matching twat energy right now. He's missing twat energy. Okay, he's playing twat for twat. Okay, so we'll allow it. We're gonna allow it.
Good point.
Can I have an answer to my question before?
Yeah.
I feel like I was being very honest and asking you to answer the question, and I feel like you're just trying to deflect and pivot from that.
Yeah. I'm trying to answer it, but I can't answer it without giving you my first principles.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you know the first principles? Principle of contradiction, principle of sufficient reason, principle of substance, sufficient causality, and the principle of finality. Do you know those?
Now that you've said them, yes, of course I know them now. That's the first time I've ever heard them in my life. Never heard them before.
Can you explain them?
Can you please answer my question before you try to shift the burden?
Can you explain that? You're making it
answer
like
my question and
idiot.
trying to shift the burden.
No, hold on. You're making it seem like I'm an idiot for asking you if you know
Shifting
that.
the burden.
You
You're
haven't
shifting the burden.
provided any
That's what
proof that no, I will answer your question. I promise.
No. Please don't shift the burden. Please answer my question if you want me to answer your question.
It's not burden shifting.
I'm gonna be honest. It's incredibly dishonest for you to say that I'm me not answering the question is somehow like me pivoting or being dishonest instead of
I'm literally just trying to
answering the
establish.
question. Do you remember the question I provided?
Yeah, you're asking how there's some sort of fallacious contradiction or how it's illogical with what I just said. And I'm about to give you
I
that.
asked you what the fallacy was, and you have yet to tell me what the fallacy is.
Well, I already told you it's a non sequitur, but I'm about to explain through my first principles how we're determining that that is a non sequitur. But I want you to tell me first what my first principles are.
Instead of trying to shift the burden, how about you just answer the question?
I'm not shifting a burden. Just admit that you don't know them. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not trying to.
You're gonna keep.
Just move on, Jaw. Okay,
So you can
move
either
on.
answer my question, or you can choose to do this.
Do you know the principle of identity?
Yes, Jude. Just move on, Jude.
Until you answer my question, sir.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, no. So I'll give you my
wait for an answer to my question rather than have you shift the burden.
I think it's dishonest that you tried to make it seem like you knew something that you didn't, and that's okay. I think we were all
Claiming I didn't know it. Okay, this is just ridiculous. Please just answer the question.
No, if there's a contention that you know it, can you explain my first principles?
Can you just answer the question?
I'm going to. I'm
You
just
see how
asking.
he's just constantly trying to shift the burden here?
I'm about to answer that.
Why is this guy debating himself in the
I'm
past?
going to. I just want you to tell me that you don't know the first.
That's what multiple people have said.
It really
Yeah,
looks
we're
just like. Wow.
Is there an endless chain of younger versions of Parker debating themselves? That's the question.
Is Parker
I mean,
buying
he
himself
does have a lot of
time
content.
to GPT it?
Well, there is. I'm not gonna say what I actually want to say.
Thank you. All right, but welcome, Tyler.
Hey.
I know. See, okay, yeah, I'll answer. So the principle of efficient causality is that every contingent being, even if it exists without beginning, needs an efficient cause, and in last analysis is an uncreated cause. So that's actually one of my first principles, and this also follows from the principle of substance that comes after it in order of conception. That the first principle, or the principle of substance, is that everything has some reason for being. Sorry, that's sufficient reason. Principle of substance is in the middle of that. Principle of sufficient reason, that everything has some reason for being, or as Gary Lagrange says, raison d'être. I'm horrible at French, so I am so sorry to all my French speakers.
So wait, what was the? How is it specifically a non sequitur? For me to say like what is the contradiction with an infinite series of, or infinite regression causing, or
Yes,
infinite regression of
it
contingent
violates the first. It violates the first principles of Aristotelian metaphysics. That's how.
Okay, so because
Okay, this is the part I wanted to pause on. So, sufficient reason isn't from Aristotle, though, correct, Brendan?
I'm not an Aristotle guy. I don't.
Well,
I don't
the
know.
reason. No, but I guess go ahead.
No, efficient cause is one of Aristotle's. Is that what you said? Efficient?
A sufficient reason. It's PSR, right? They're getting into the PSR segment, correct?
Oh yeah, this is the PSR. Did the PSR come from? I don't fucking remember.
We'll see when I look this up. I don't think PSR.
Well, the PSR
is
comes from Leibniz or whatever, right?
Yeah, I don't think PSR comes from Aristotelian. I guess unless you count that because this guy said it after Aristotle, and it's Aristotle's foundation. Does that mean it's an Aristotle principle?
The principle of sufficient reasoning. Page.
And so that's why I wanted to get with Brandon, because I was a little confused, because as I was looking up the parts that I didn't know, Jaw's arguments I wasn't following it, because I think he's confusing PSR with belonging to Aristotle, and it doesn't seem to.
Yeah, we should probably chat GPT that, because I don't remember where that originated, but it seems like the PSR is consistent with an infinite regress, though. That's what's kind of strange here. Because when we talk about the PSR, we're talking about things having explanations, and with an infinite regress, for every instance of something, I don't know, there is a reason for that, right? There's a causal explanation, and that just goes back for infinity. So I don't even know why we're talking about the PSR here, but they get into it further, and there's a lot of weird confusion that happens, and that's where it starts to get actually kind of interesting,
right?
Or at least
pause. Thank you, Love is Light, for the $5. By the way, love is light. That's true. Sufficient reason, yeah. The thing we said earlier, life based, red pilled. Thank you for $5. I appreciate it, truly. I'm so lost. So, Brandon, give us the PSR, because they're going to go into this. So, just give it, because I'm going to butcher it, as I am wont to do.
The strong PSR says, now, I could be wrong. I don't read about this stuff anymore. I don't
say the whole words for the people in the back.
Sure. The principle of sufficient reason, the strong principle of sufficient reason, is that for every fact there is a reason for that fact. And then the weak PSR or principle of sufficient reason says something like, for every fact there's a possible reason or explanation for that fact. But they don't get into that specific. They just talk about PSR more broadly. They don't get into weak or strong that I remember.
I learned about PSR in college. It's a PSP. What is it? PSP standard something. It's the most recent version of the code you're supposed to use for websites.
No, PSR is what you put in your tires.
I think. Oh,
That's right.
yeah. Okay.
I thought the PSP was like a portable PlayStation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said PCP. Wait, PCP is something else.
That's a
PCP
drug.
is the drug. Yeah, that's,
I said PHP.
that's what you take if you really want to understand the PSR.
Yeah, or PSI.
Or Parker sounds retarded.
Or public service rescindment. There's a lot of things it could be. The PSR is everything to everyone. Okay.
Follow that you can have an effect without a cause due to the principle of sufficient reason.
So how does
My
that make it
mother
a
was half
non-sequitur?
PSR.
Because what are you not? So I'm saying it doesn't follow.
I don't even know what that
Non-sequitur,
means.
It does not follow. So I
On
showed
her
it does not
mother's
follow.
side.
You can have an effect without a cause. And you do you understand my first principles? Do you understand what the purpose
Wait,
of
wait,
having
wait. You say it doesn't follow that there's you're saying it doesn't follow if there's an infinite sequence of events that there could then be a cause simply because of the fact that it doesn't meet the first principle. Are you saying in order for you to be able to explain whether or not there is a cause, you need to accept this first principle?
Do you deny my first principle?
I'm just asking, do you have to accept it?
Yeah, it's my paradigm.
Okay, wait. So then you're saying that I have to accept this in order to be able to explain why a contingent set of causes could be explained by an infinite sequence?
Yeah, it's the first principles of reason and logic. So I would assume that you accept them. Yeah.
I'm confused how that specifically is going to. Can I just hear again? Maybe we're a little bit confused here.
I think
You
we are.
agree that there's not a contradiction with an infinite sequence of events and of contingent things being the explanation for a contingent thing. You agree?
So like I said, within your infinite regress, there's not a one-to-one contradiction, but it violates the first principles of logic. And so therefore,
so
there's a
let's
contradiction.
just clarify. You don't think it is contradictory for there to be a infinite sequence of events that
How much of this do I gotta watch before my virginity
No, so
comes
there's not a
back?
contradiction between those two things.
So
There's
it's
a contradiction. There's a contradiction
Another
between what
30
you're saying
minutes.
and first principles
Okay,
of logic.
cool.
And you have
Your
to-
hymen will repair
you have
itself,
to
Tyler.
Show how there's not a contradiction between what you're saying and logic itself. You haven't done that.
Wait. You said
You have a
there's
hymen in your
logic also, again,
asshole?
in terms of there being a principle standpoint of things can be themselves or the
Yours might be
logic
broken,
is
brother. I don't know.
What about those means that you specifically can't accept that there's an infinite sequence that is going to be the cause of this particular contingent thing? You're just saying, oh, it violates this first principle that you accept, but not a principle of all notions or understandings of logic. Do you agree?
Do you accept my first principles?
Go through the first principle one more time that you're saying it violates.
The first principle. Well, how about I just walk you through first principles in general so you can have like a full understanding of it, so we can have a good conversation. Would that help?
Just go ahead and tell me what the first principle is that you think it's violating.
Well, but I think it would be helpful if I just explain the first principles in general to you, because I don't think you're actually understanding the purpose.
Back in high school, they used to call me old
If
hymen
you'd like to do that,
snapper.
instead of answering my question, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it violates specifically.
Hopefully the high schoolers don't still call you that.
Also violates the principle of sufficient causality.
That's crazy.
It violates the principle of sufficient reason, the principle of sufficient causality.
Yeah, I don't have to accept
That the old hymen snapper?
Okay, so you
Oh, it
deny
is.
the principle
I don't accept it now.
You deny the principle of sufficient reason. Can you
Yes,
just
I
say
don't
that
accept
on
the
camera?
PSR.
Okay, so can you tell me what the problem is with the principle of sufficient reason?
Can you wait before we do so? Can you say why?
Well, no. You just accused me of running. You have to answer the question now. You just denied the principle of sufficient reason, one of the first principles of logic. Can you explain what's wrong with it?
Oh, I
And what-
get
again,
you.
like,
There's no
See,
reason
that's
that requires
confused.
to accept it. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Provide a reason to accept
you
it.
can't just say I don't accept that because I don't want to. You have to provide a logical.
Wait. No. You have to provide an argument for the principle. You can't just say you have to accept it because it's a principle.
Yeah,
Right?
so
You have
I'm
to provide an
It's like
argument
two
for the principle.
fucking
You're
nerds
again
debating the
denying-
rules
denying
of the game.
That there needs to be a fucking.
No, you have to do it
well,
this
you're
way.
denying that there
No,
needs to
it's
be
this
an
way.
uncaused cause in order to be able to bring about things, and that there can't be.
No,
or that there
it's
can be
Parker
infinite
talking to
progression that can never
Parker
be
about the
explained
rules
to
of the
contingent
game.
things.
Get
I
it
don't
right.
See why I would need to accept the PSR.
Yeah.
Why is his
I'm making
future
a
self
proposition
dumber
against
than
how
he
first
is?
principles work. That's why I wanted to explain. I'm trying to help you out by explaining the first principles.
Do you
Who is
think
the
that
future
PSR is
one?
illogical
The
or
one
a
with the bigger
metaphysical
schnoz on the left.
Logic is metaphysical. What are you talking about?
You mean the
Hold on, let me
Jew?
clarify, though. Like, do you?
He's definitely got a
Did
Jew
you just
nose.
try and put logic and metaphysics against each other? What does that mean, Parker?
I'm not saying that
Confidence
metaphysics
check-
count in
check
logic. I'm just saying, is
Discord.
it simply specifically metaphysical, or is it logical? Like, is it in classical logic?
Yeah, it's the first principle. It's Aristotelian logic. I've clarified.
Is it
times.
classical logic, sir? Is it like one of the classical understandings of logic?
Do you want me to explain first principles? I'm really because you haven't answered my question.
Is it in classical
You
logic?
haven't answered my question. I'm trying.
Is it
I'm trying
in
to get you to
classical
explain-
logic?
You said that you denied the principle of sufficient reason. Can you explain what
Is
that
it
is?
in
and why you
classical
deny it?
logic?
Whoa, you can't say that I'm not answering.
He's
your
not answering my question. Is it in classical logic?
But you have to answer.
Is it in classical logic? Yes or no?
I asked the question. You didn't answer. No, I asked the
You don't know
question.
the answer according to your own reasoning earlier?
It's just two
I am
fucking
answering
dudes
it in classical logic
bickering.
previously, and now you're running from it. This is so bad, Parker. This is bad, man. Just answer. Why is the
You
principle
can't
sufficient
answer the
reason wrong?
question. So is it in classical logic?
It's an extrapolation from Aristotle by St. Thomas.
So
it
it's
is-
not in classical logic.
It's extrapolation by St. Thomas from Aristotle.
So it's not in classical logic.
Depends on what you define as classical logic.
Okay. All right. So
Can you
what's your definition of classical logic?
So can you explain now why
What's your definition of classical
PSR
logic?
is wrong? Guys, he's not answering. He doesn't want to answer. Total Thomistic.
Because we're having this conversation, and then you try to constantly change the conversation in order to be able to fit specifically the type of dialogue that you want to have, rather than the conversation that we were just having.
So you're not going to get a reason as to why the principle of sufficient reason is wrong.
I gave you a reason that I didn't need to accept it because I simply didn't need to accept it.
Wait,
One, it's not
classical
classical
logic is just
Two,
the
it's
one
not
that follows
relevant
the,
for conversation
the
about
laws
this
of
and why
logic,
we
isn't
believe
it?
in a God.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. This is what Brandon was saying before when he was talking about Big Soda. I don't know why Jaws seems to be saying that the PSR is a part of classical logic.
Well, the first
I don't know if he
one,
just doesn't want to back down.
I thought he eventually answers no because they are separate, I guess.
Yeah.
What is the
And
difference
that's what
between
me
the
and Brandon
classical
thought.
logic and the non-classical logic, Brandon?
Just the sort of rules they accept. Like, oh god, it's been a while. Like double negation elimination, where you have like not P. In classical logic, not P would entail P. But I think it's fuzzy logic. They reject that. It's either fuzzy or pair consistent. I don't remember. They think not P doesn't entail necessarily P.
Brandon, can you
So they
explain
just-
women logic?
Wait,
Fuck no.
Not-
I'm talking about real logic. I can't do that. Of course not.
so when you're doing not P, doesn't mean that P is real? Is that what you mean?
They don't accept that that's an entailment of not P. Like a classical logician will say, what's entailed from not P is just P, right? And that seems intuitive to me, at least.
He's
you have
turning the
a-
balls.
Is there any example of this that you can come up? I
Fuck
actually
no.
feel too dumb to understand it.
I probably can, if I'm being honest.
You're not alone.
Because just think of like, we have a proposition, the cat is on the mat. To say that,
with a hat.
to add, the cat is on the mat with the hat. And if we have the negation of that, then the negation of that would be it's not the case that the cat is on the mat with the hat. And then you add another negation to that. Well, a classical logician would say, well, now we're back to the cat is on the mat with the hat.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah, I don't know how we're not there.
right. At least from the rules that they accept. Once again, I don't fucking ask ChatGPT it. But the rules that they accept under, I think it might be intuitionistic. No, I think it's intuitionistic logic. They reject that. They don't think that.
I thought those
once
are
you
the
add-
goaded ones that reject the law of the excluded middle because I like that. I like those crazy people.
They do.
Do they reject both of them? The double negation thing and the law of the excluded middle?
With the rules that they accept, I don't know what the rules are exactly. But yeah, that is not derived in intuitionistic logic. The law of excluded middle and
You like
double negation
these
elimination.
guys. I'm okay. I'm just gonna accept it as a. I'm gonna
There's, like,
try to
house
figure out what it
rules?
means, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Even with the,
It is kind of like house logic
the
rules.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like house rules in psychology. You go over to somebody's house and suddenly you can play round the corner and rummy or something. But like,
Yeah.
that's
No,
gay.
I get it. It's just that I don't understand the difference. I guess I need to figure this out on my own because I don't know what is the actual difference between classical logic and non-classical logic, and if
Yeah,
there is an
I
actual
wouldn't-
definitional or propositional difference between one and the other, in which that I can actually understand. But yeah, it's fine.
Well, here with cars, it's usually 25 years old or more. It's classic. So just go with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to
That's such
explain
a
to you why not P.
That
They
is
don't think it
such a
entails P,
stupid-
but
What
Yeah, I
the
don't
hell,
think-
man? Don't be rude.
There's a reason they call it fuzzy logic, I guess, you know.
God or not in the very first place. I don't have to accept it from an atheistic perspective. I'm not committed to
That's
that.
such a stupid
Okay,
I
definition.
never said it wasn't in classical logic.
Wait, do you agree I am not committed to accepting the PSR?
Well, no, I can show you the PSR, and then you have to tell me why you don't accept it. You can't just say I don't accept it. Like that's like
am I committed to accepting the PSR? Yes or no?
Well, you're not, but that's a ridiculous thing to do. You have to show why it's wrong. You can't just say
So, by
I
the way,
don't.
so I'm not committed to accepting the PSR. So can you provide the argument for why I need to accept the PSR?
You need to show a reason as to why you don't accept it.
That
It's my
is-
first
You need to provide a
principle.
reason for why you do accept the PSR.
Yeah, do you know what
Parker's
PSR
right
is?
here.
Yeah, the principle of sufficient reason.
No,
See, I
he's
thought it
not.
was
What does it
split.
mean? What does it
Wait,
mean? What does it
wait,
mean?
wait,
It's
wait.
asking what does it mean?
Can we stop for just a second? Okay. If you fine, I can agree with. Let's add a preamble to this. Should we accept true things or best arguments?
Yeah.
I
I think
accept
we
true
ought to.
I
things.
think so.
9/11 was an inside job. We all know it. And if you don't accept true things.
Exactly. So the point here, when it comes to why ought to I accept it, is I understand if you don't accept it because you don't believe it's true or you think there's something wrong with the argument. That's a logical, valid argument for me to not accept an argument. But just saying, hey, why should I accept this argument? That doesn't make any sense if you are engaged in any kind of argumentation. It's like if it's true,
that's
you
what I
ought to
thought.
accept it. So I don't know if I don't know if he's being pedantic, I'm being pedantic, or we just literally talking about dumb things at this point.
Well, how I'm reading it is Jaw is saying that PSR is true, and we can make, well, it is a proposition. The proposition for the PSR is just for every fact there is an explanation for that fact, or the reason for that fact, or however you want to put it. And he's saying it is true. And Parker is basically just saying, well, I don't know why I would believe that, right? That he's basically saying he's agnostic to it, and he's asking Jaw for the argument for why he should accept it. Why is that true? I think that's fair.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that becomes up the argument, right? In of itself, it's like, hey, this is the argument. And he's like, well, why should I accept it? Well, we should accept arguments based on the merits of the argument. If you don't agree with the argument, I understand why you are rejecting it, and you have to tell me, well, you have to, not necessarily tell me, but you have to give me a reason as to why you're rejecting it when it comes to the form of the debate, which is valid as well. But if you're going to be like, oh, you have to convince me in order to accept the argument, obviously I'm trying to argue something because I believe it's true, right?
Yeah, and was the PSR even in Jaw's original argument? I wonder if they should... he gave like 6 premises. I wonder if it's even in his argument. Is this even worth talking about? At least between them, not us.
Did he give the conclusion? That would be the question.
I don't remember. He gave like 6 or 7 premises.
You're not answering the question. No, you're not answering
No, I
the
don't
question.
think
No,
so.
you're not. That's not the rules. You have to do it this way. No, that's not the rules. You do it this way.
I think
That's what I
PSR came into the conversation because of him bringing up the non sequitur. I'm not so sure it has really much to do with the prompt itself.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because he started by just defining contingent causes and necessary causes, and then he went to the infinite chain thing, from my memory.
And they're
So I
both
don't know,
learning
like-
rhetoric, so I think we're all getting lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directly.
You
I
don't
just told
even
you, I told
know
you the principle of sufficient reason. Please answer
I
the
already
question.
told you. I already
Why do I,
said that.
why do
You
I
need
need to
tell me
accept
what
it?
principle of sufficient reason is.
Why do
You
I
have
need
tell
to
me-
accept it? Can you give an argument for the PSR?
You don't even know what it is. How are you
Give
denying
me
it?
an argument for the PSR.
Dude, this is bad, bro. You don't even know what it
So
is.
instead of
Which
actually
is
providing an
bad.
argument for the PSR, he's just going to ad hominem me and just
No,
act
I
like
don't.
I'm going to be
Just
dumb
tell
simply
me
for not
I
answering
just
his
know what it
complete
is.
fucking pivot of questions.
Yeah, so the PSR, I'll explain it for you and for the people who don't know.
No, I never said I didn't know what the PSR is. I simply just asked you, what is the argument for the PSR?
I said I'll explain it for you and for the people who don't know. So that's actually distinguishing you from those people.
Well, you're also saying you're explaining it for me. Okay, so instead of just providing like an argument for the PSR, you're trying to be condescending and like work around it. Like you're like smirking really weird right now because I pointed you out for being condescending.
Yeah, sorry. I smile when I get happy. It's my humanness. I apologize.
Do you admit you were being condescending?
I was just trying to get you to tell me that you.
Let's go into those weeds.
I wouldn't say I was. Maybe I was condescending in the sense that I was coming down to your level to help you understand, but I don't think
Another condescending remark.
in the colloquial.
See, I love meta of
I
my
like
meta.
him. This dude cooking.
Yeah.
I was coming down to your level so you can understand.
Has a reason for being, or raison d'etre. Again, sorry for my horrible French pronunciation. I'm reading Gary Legrand right now, and I'm LARPing pretty hard. But no, everything that
Fucking
exists has a
Jew
reason for
Parker
being,
is
either
kicking
in
the other
itself, if it is
Parker's ass.
self-existing,
Dean
or
Parker.
from other than itself.
He is
So that's
Jewish.
the principle of sufficient reason. We can see
Jew
this
Parker
using
and
our
Dean
senses
Parker.
and extrapolating from our senses. So if
To
you
be
wanna
fair,
provide
Parker
some
has
sort of,
other
refutation of
reasons
that, I would
to
love
be
hear it.
No, wait, what's the argument?
Jewish?
You
worried
said we get it from our
about.
senses. Is that all you said?
It's a first principle.
Yeah.
You said I wasn't committed to accepting.
Yeah,
the
did you know
principle.
that he
Why
was
do you want the
messaging
argument for
other
the principle?
You
other
have to tell me
guys?
why you disagree.
No, you have to provide the argument for the principle.
No, it's a direct extrapolation from the census. So, for example, if I say the grass is green,
Okay, so the argument for the PSR is an extrapolation of census.
Parker. So if I say that the grass is green, you then have to provide a reason as to why you don't think it's green by saying something like, no, it's actually blue. So you would have to respond with some reason as to why you don't believe this. You can't just say, I don't believe it.
No. You're providing an argument, right? And your argument is it's an extrapolation of census.
No, you have to do this. No, you have to do this.
It seems like
he's saying this is the extrapolation, logical extrapolation from our census.
So is it more likely?
I think the burden of proof here would be on Jaw, though. If he's saying that there is some ought that Parker accepts the PSR, then he should give some argument on why he ought to accept that. He shouldn't just be like, well, let's just pretend this is an establised thing, and then you tell me why it's wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong there, but
no. I think he's like taking the PSR like he keeps calling it a principle, so he thinks like it's a given, like it's obviously true. You should accept it, and he hasn't given a further reason for Parker or anybody else to accept it. I think that's right.
Honestly, if you don't believe in the PSR, you're a madman. Like everyone accepts the PSR, bro.
What was the other term, Brandon, that you called it? The opposite of PSR?
What'd you say, Brett? Sorry.
What did you say the opposite of PSR was? Like the competing?
Oh, no, there's two different senses of the PSR. There's the strong and the weak. The strong is for every fact there's a explanation for that fact, and then the weak one is that there's a possible explanation for that fact.
See, why couldn't Parker just say that shit?
He's going full debate, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He is going debate, bro. He's saying, okay, here's the proposition on the table. Give me the argument for that.
Yeah.
And he's sticking to that.
It's like a delay tactic or something.
Not necessarily.
I think
Jesusandwhatnot should be able to just bring up the proposition and put it on the table as instead of trying to make it some kind of gotcha game of do you know this, do you know that? And even though I do that in some cases, especially if I
you do. You're a pop quizzer.
Yeah.
I didn't pop quiz you.
Not me, just generally. Yeah, look at the pop quizzer called the kettle black.
Shut the fuck up.
You're good, Emmett.
But I do pop quiz sometimes, especially when I get annoyed. Like, I don't believe you know anything. I'm gonna pop quiz you a couple of times. But the point is,
just crazy that this is happening in the first like 30 minutes. Like, is the whole debate gonna be like fucking navel gazing and circle jerking the entire time?
I'm 100% sure that they're not gonna move from this. I'm pretty sure.
No, I do believe they get into three separate, just based on the transcripts. It seems like it's broken into a couple different arguments, but I'm not sure if they get through the actual PSR.
Yeah, I think they eventually. I think that's right. I think they
just
eventually
abandon
say,
it.
Fuck it.
Yeah,
thank God. Let's hope that happens soon.
It's too bad we don't have timestamp timeline headers.
Yeah, I was checking, but we do not. So, we'll keep plowing along.
Or is it necessary to be the case?
I think, I would say based off of senses alone, we could say that it is logically the case.
So necessary?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be held.
I'm
but
so
I would say
down with the PSR.
You would have to provide a reason as to why you don't accept my first principles, is what I'm trying to tell you.
So you're not providing an argument. So is it a probabilistic argument you're providing based on the senses? Or?
You have to say, I disagree, and therefore I'm right. You have to
No. I'm asking for your argument for the PSR. And right now you're trying to say it's an extrapolation based upon our senses. Okay? What particular sense data justifies the PSR?
Yeah, okay. Let me explain first principles to you. So the principle of sufficient reason specifically, do you know what it comes after?
Instead of asking me questions, please
stop asking questions.
Okay, he still hasn't provided the argument yet. Like, I'm asking
PSR sounds like a communist government that took over some Asian country in the 60s.
Yeah, so the first principle,
Alex, you're back.
Contradiction. So this is the principle in which somebody can know that being is different than non-being. So for example, if I touch something, I can say there is, and therefore there is a difference between there is and there. What are you typing?
I'm typing principle of identity in my notes so that I can make sure I know what you're talking about.
Make sure not chat GPT.
Contradiction.
He's on that cloud grind set.
You're trying to act like I have a script or I'm messaging people.
The principle of contradiction
chat is saying
between being and non-being. Okay.
What are you typing,
you understand that?
motherfucker?
There's a difference between being and
typing. I'm talking.
It's a contradiction, yes.
He's pulling a curve.
It's the principle of contradiction, yes. And so being not being at the same time. Or as some philosophers really goofily put it,
being can't be not being at the same time. That's what you meant to say.
Yeah, sorry, did I say it incorrectly?
Yeah, I think you said being not being is. It was an accident.
And so, yeah, and so first principles are something that are directly extrapolated from the sense world. So something that we can tell, such as being from non-being. Now you could say it's not necessary that I accept that being is different from non-being, but it completely reduces everything to absurdity. And so you could say, I disagree with that, but you would have to provide your first principle that works in place of the principle of contradiction, non-contradiction, or identity. So that's
the ones I'm disputing, right?
I'm trying to explain how first principles work with going to the most rudimentary first principle, explaining why you actually have to provide some
literally, there's no mugging happening on either side right now. Okay, no one is mugging anyone here, in my opinion.
We can tell that there is a difference.
Not much
So what follows
happening
from that is that
on
there's
either
a principle of
side.
sufficient reason, and
We're
that
at a
is
stalemate where neither wants to
reason for
show any
being of all
good
things.
faith to the
And it goes
other.
as follows. Everything that exists
Yeah.
has its reason for being.
Yeah,
either in
it
itself,
just
if it is
spirals and
something
gets
or from
worse.
something
I just
other than
feel
itself.
like they're
And under
matching
this
each
principle,
other.
there's
Like
four
you started
categories in which
being
we
an
can
asshole, I'm
kind of
gonna be an
establish the reason
asshole.
for
You
being.
started
Something can have its
questions,
reason
I'm
for
gonna
being as a
give you
characteristic.
questions.
It can have its reason for being as
Yeah,
an
and I'm
effective
sure
cause,
both of them
as a
feel
means to
like
an end,
the
or
he in that
it's just that
situation.
corruptibility of bodies has its reason for being in matter. And so these are first principles extrapolated from the senses
I
directly.
think Parker is
So
just
if you want to
excited.
deny the extrapolation from the senses, that's fine, but then you need to show some substitute or
Yeah,
some reason as to
GPT
why
right
you
now.
think that that's wrong.
Okay, so I understand that you're saying that like the first three laws of logic, they follow directly from the senses because we can see specific examples, and if we don't accept
Now
them,
he's
we can't make
reading
sense of the world around us. I think that I can make sense of the world around us without the PSR. I see no issue with being able to do that. So I feel like that's not a response or even an argument for the PSR to simply say that because I
is not
accept
a
the three
response.
classical laws of logic, that means I have to accept the PSR.
Okay,
That's not an
so
argument.
explain why this exists without using the PSR.
Explain why a pen exists without using the PSR.
Yeah, you said you can have a natural world around you. Explain why this exists.
That is
without
also
using the PSR.
not a response.
I can, based upon my sense data, I think that it's reliable, at least in the process specifically, of saying that there are no defeaters. There are no,
No, I'm not saying explain that.
there are no defeaters for the idea that exists, and to dispute my sense data based upon the fact that I think that in typical, in most circumstances, it is
Based, it seems like the pen exists, and it seems like it has a cause, and given there's no reason to deny that sense data, ground-logical
but
conservatism does it again.
Seemings. That's your view, though.
Well, but that is not a position. It may seem that it's not the case as well.
But it doesn't.
Long
No,
live
it
the
does.
People's
To
Socialist
me, it
Republic.
does.
But it doesn't.
It seems to me that it's not a pen, that it's a pencil.
Seemings can be wrong, okay? Don't make me go over
Okay,
that whole thing
exactly.
again.
It's a non-position.
It's not a non-position.
It's a
It seems to
non-position.
it seems to both
It
of them.
seems to me that it's not a
the
pen, it's a
is
pencil.
cause.
I want
But it
But it
doesn't
seems
even.
to me that it's a
this.
pencil.
This is what Michael Humer even says. People that deny this, he says they're just lying to win an argument, which I think you're
No, you're
actually
lying.
demonstrating, Emmett.
You are
because
lying.
You
I
would
think
just
you
have
are-
to, you'd have
it
to lie. You'd
seems
have to
to
say, well,
me
it doesn't
that you are
seem to
lying,
me to be a
Confluence.
pen.
You can be
It
wrong
seems
about
to
what
me
you're
that you are
saying. It
lying to
doesn't
win an
mean
argument,
that
Confluence.
It's
That's
not.
just
You're
my
not seeing
preference.
something, right?
Right. You can be wrong about seemings, but a lot of times when people do this
But
stuff,
it's not a
they'll pretend that something seems as if it's not, but they have to.
But that,
they have to
but
lie
that is not a
themselves into
position.
It
their
seems
not a
like Israel
proposition.
killed Charlie Kirk.
It does seem like that.
My intuition told me.
But again, that's not a proposition. You're not actually saying something that is true in your sense, even in your own senses. You're like
everything.
thinking
I mean,
that it may be true. Things
but
might be
everything we
true.
have is seemings.
Maybe.
Your whole Orthodox Church. It seems like there's something that's called an
No,
Orthodox
it is
Church.
true. No,
it
it's
seems
not
to you.
It is
Where do you
true.
get? Where do you
No,
get it?
to
If
me,
it's not from sense data.
outside
Where do you
of me
get
is
it?
true.
Where do you
Outside
get it?
of me is true.
How do you know? How do you even know about the Orthodox Church? You must have heard about it.
I can explain.
Did you
this.
hear about it with your ears? Did you read about stuff with your
It has
eyes?
nothing to do
You
with
had
my
a collection
ears.
of seemings.
Even if I
It has
didn't
everything to do with your
exist, it would
ears.
still be true. Even if I didn't exist, it would still be
You
true.
don't know. You don't know.
Even if I didn't know it was true, it would still be true.
I'm not saying it's dependent on your seeming. I'm saying everything you know about the
apparently-
world
apparently
comes
what
through
you are
your
asking me.
seemings. No, everything.
I have
No,
something to tell you
no.
guys.
It would still
I don't
be
know how
true,
you-
even if I didn't see it, even if I don't
I
see
know
it
it's
that
not
way.
dependent on your seemings. I
guys
agree.
act like-
It's
So,
not.
so my,
The
so
only
when
way
you're
you
asking
know
me
about
how
the
do I
Orthodox
know,
Church
I can
is
give
from
you.
your seemings.
When you ask me how I know, I can give you logical arguments as to why it doesn't necessarily has to come from my sense data or my
No, you
belief system.
can't.
And I am
No, you
10
can't.
I am
Stop
10
throwing your
toes down
seemings
when it
everywhere.
comes to.
Your
Okay?
seemings are everywhere.
And I'm
It's
not gonna
disgusting.
put it. The fuck off, you.
So real quick, a couple of things. One, I was at church today, a Roman Catholic church, and the priest
Based.
there was shitting all over both Protestants and Ortho bros, talking about how they're the one true denomination of Christianity, because since both of you ignore the hierarchy set down by Jesus in the Bible, handed down to Peter to be the first bishop of Rome and blah, 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 that you guys ignore biblical teachings and the church
next time
structure.
ask him about
And
Chalcedon.
I would say that's a non sequitur.
Well, it's very simple. Just ask him about Chalcedon, and that's it.
Yeah,
just ask him about it. It's like, oh, tell me, do the in accordance to the Council of Chalcedon, do priesthood have access to should be able to be part of the government? And then he will absolutely go on about how it is that they can change it in accordance to what they believe now. But it
Tyler,
has
you
not
should
to
see
do
if he'll
with the
come on
idea
a
of the church.
Confluence panel.
This is like a 70-year-old man. That'd be hilarious.
The priest, the priest on here.
Get him on here with
But at the end
Mel.
of the day, at the end of the day, Orthobro is not a denomination, and it has nothing to do with the church. So
there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll move on, but because it seems like we should, and we have no reason to doubt that initial seeming, so we will move on.
If you think about it,
going to be most likely.
my mic's been muted. I just target
My eyes, my ears, my nose, my mouth, right, are going to have
Welcome.
reliable information.
Spur along with us, brother.
No defeater against the idea that it be true, and then we can also test and replicate those things.
You misunderstood.
Cheered by the bonfire and spurred.
I'm asking why it exists, not how you know.
It's going to be a
why.
probabilistic function based upon like induction.
No, I'm asking why does it exist? Why does it exist in the first place?
Sorry, are you asking? I'm confused with the question you're asking.
Why is there a pen rather than there not being a pen?
Why is there a pen rather than
People's Socialist Republic, that's why.
No, that's explaining how you
Jesus
know that there is
Christ.
a pen, but I'm asking where did the pen come from? Why is there a pen when there very well could be not a pen?
Socialism.
You chose to lift up, or are you asking like why was
I know exactly what Jaw's doing here.
I'm asking why does it exist?
Let me pause just for a half a second. Because what he's doing is
Parker also knows. Parker just asked to answer the fucking question too, right?
Well,
Parker's playing dumb. He knows what he's asking.
I actually don't think so. I think he's trying to give an answer. He's basically saying, well, I use induction, I use my senses, but I don't think he's understanding. That's not what Jaw is asking. Jaw is basically just asking, well, what you're going to do is give an explanation for why the pen or the pencil exists, and that is to affirm the PSR. But that's not necessarily true, but that's what Jaw is trying to get him to do.
That is, but I don't. Parker must understand that. He's like, why are you holding a pen, or why? Like he's asking. He knows what he's asking. He's trying to say there's some cause. You see this pen, you would probably reason that someone made this pen. There's some cause of this pen existing. So I understand maybe Jaw's argument isn't going to be a great argument here, but Parker's also just being a little shit by just not answering and just then go let him finish his thing and then explain why you don't like it instead of being like, well, I don't know what you mean. He knows exactly what he fucking means. I think that's obvious to me.
Yeah, he is.
You seem to be wrong about that. So
you have reasons to think I'm right. So under my principles, you should reconsider.
It seems to me that you're lying.
Yeah, you piece
you
of
have
shit.
reasons to doubt that. Seemings can be wrong, and you have reasons to doubt your initial seemings in this case. No, you have reasons to doubt your seemings. Both of you have bad seemings. Bad seemings at you. Okay? How about that?
If Brandon and I agree,
That
it
doesn't
must be
seem right
true.
to me.
You swallow seemings. That's what I've seen.
Get fucked, dude. That's right.
I'm genuinely kind of confused with the question you're trying to ask.
Okay, I gotta go.
I'm interpreting it when you're
Have a
saying
great
why
sleep.
rather than not.
Yeah.
Lift this up to show the live rather than lifting up and picking up something else to show the live.
Okay, so you just use the principle of sufficient reason to
Yeah,
describe
the
it.
Orthodox
I
design.
can't be there. That's what the principle of sufficient reason. Remember, I said if
We still got Elder here.
Oh, damn it.
You can
Yeah.
Okay, so how's that the principle of sufficient reason?
Don't make me debate you on Solas before right now. I'll do it.
By me. It doesn't matter if
You're
I'm
contingent.
Hey,
How is
hey,
that?
hey,
because
hey,
I have
hey.
clause before me. You don't even know. Do you know what
Since y'all
contingent
kick me out of the shrimp council, I've been
Yeah, so I could have been otherwise, but that doesn't mean I can't.
I've been coming for y'all.
You're told the Cravicon. We forgot about you in there.
I don't think that if I don't accept the PSR, I'm disputing that contingent things can cause other contingent things. Like I already accepted that with this
It's been
argument.
years.
Arguing that an infinite series of contingent things can cause a contingent thing.
So you agree with the PSR then?
No. What
You just
None of your chats have been untoward. Love is
You
light.
just
To be
used it to
clear.
explain why there's a pen. So explain why there
I
is
don't
a
think I
pen.
did.
Yes, you
I
did.
think
No,
it
you said
existed
because I
without
lifted
using
it up on the
PSR.
screen. You just said because I lifted it up on the screen. That's the principle of sufficient reason.
Okay, so how is that the principle of sufficient reason if I'm specifically referring to you a contingent thing rather than a necessary thing that led to this?
Because you're misunderstanding the principle of sufficient reason. The principle of sufficient reason says that even if something is contingent, it can still cause other things. Contingency doesn't prevent you from causing things in the first place. So I can be a contingent cause that causes a contingent effect. That's not logically
Fucking got him. Hook, line, and sinker, right, Brandon?
Yes, because
So
that would
true.
violate
People's
every-
Socialist
So you asked me what the
Republic.
first causes of the pen being there?
No, I'm
I
asking
thought
what the
these guys were
immediate
advocating for
approximate cause, not the
socialism
remote
this whole
cause,
time.
not the final analysis.
No, Keelan's not
I'm really
here.
confused your
Wait,
argument.
so you don't accept the PSR, but you're using it to explain why there's a pen?
I don't think I was using the
I
PSR.
accept the
You
PSR,
said that I caused it
comrade.
to be up there. That is the principle of sufficient reason.
I don't think that me specifically saying that induction indicated the pen was there is going to be that.
No, that's how you know
PSR.
that it's there. That's how you know that it's there. You said that.
I don't think that's the PSR. I think you're misunderstanding.
Okay, so what's the PSR?
The principle of sufficient reason,
What
right?
does that
You
mean?
already went over. You're trying to explain that the PSR specifically is applying to my example, but you're failing to explain how the PSR applies. To
Man, I think this is giving me
Okay, so
actual
let me clarify.
cancer.
The
It's
principle of
crazy.
sufficient reason says
I love
that,
it.
that a thing has its reason for being.
Probably all the
typically
negative
is
Yeah.
passion.
the
People
cause.
talk
And you
about
said that the
philosophy
reason
is
for
really
this being
retarded. I don't
has-
like it.
It is because it's an effect of me causing it to be in front of the screen. That is the principle of sufficient reason.
Is this
Because
the
they
cope
always
you're
both
doing
seem
because
to
you
not
missed
really
Kurt?
understand anything.
Is not that there's a sufficient cause.
Is this
but
your
rather
I
simply
missed
that there is a
Kurt
cause.
cope? Are you listening to
So the
retards
principle
spurg
of
about shit?
everything that exists has a reason for being.
Too soon,
either in
Tyler,
itself,
too soon.
If it is of
Hey,
itself,
did you have
or
good
from something
dreams
other than
last
itself.
night,
That is the principle of
Confluence?
sufficient reason, and there are four
No,
categories.
I took
of
out the
determining
patch at a
reason for
certain
being
point
if
and
it is
shoved
not of
Zins in my
itself.
mouth
And you just used one
like
of
a
those
fucking
categories,
junkie.
cause and effect, to determine why
so
this is in
weak.
front of the screen. So I'm telling you that you need to determine why this is in front of the screen without using one of those four categories.
You are a cis white man.
I'm really confused with how you're saying that just the idea of cause and effect is going to be enough to establish the basis for the PSR. I've never heard someone use the PSR in this way. I think that's a really unique way that maybe you're purposefully using right here, just saying that cause and effect means that. So let me just be clear. You think I'm accepting the PSR?
Well, now they're
if I say
flirting.
that an
God damn
infinite
it.
series of events can cause a contingent thing.
Have you read Gary Gou-Lagrange on the topic? I'm actually quoting him. Yeah. So Reginald Gary Gou-Lagrange, I'm quoting him when I gave you that definition of principle of sufficient reason. So I'm not using it in some ridiculous, unique way. I'm giving you the definition, actually.
No. The idea that you're saying it's applicable to just cause and effect. Do you agree that, like, when I am saying that an infinite,
I'm quoting him. This
do
is
you agree that
chapter
if I'm saying it's possible for an
reality.
infinite series of contingent things to be the explanation, right, of a contingent thing, right, in the like why it exists, are you telling me that I'm accepting the PSR?
You're using the PSR to describe it, and that would be implicit.
So am I accepting the PSR by doing that? Yes or no?
Yeah, because you're implicitly accepting it
Okay.
by using it. Because you failed to give me a reason that this is in front of the screen without using it. You said that you
Failed
had
Without using the
miserably.
PSR, used
I
induction.
see Brandon shaking his head.
No, you used the PSR. I just showed everyone. I gave you the definition of PSR, and then you used it to define how this is.
I used induction, right? And you're saying I use the PSR. You're also saying that the PSR, I use the PSR simply to say that, or specifically to say that an infinite series of causal events is the basis for the explanation of a contingent thing.
Yeah, so I'm quoting chapter 4 of Reality, a synthesis of Thomistic thought by Father Reginald Gary Gou-Lagrange. He says that a thing has its reason for being as an effect of a cause. So that is the principle of sufficient reason. You're using it to describe why this is here.
Wait,
You
say
just
that
used it. Which part?
The whole thing. I apologize. I zoned out for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
He says the second way that a thing can have its reason for being.
Okay, so if I'm tracking right, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but to Steelman what Parker is saying, right? It's like you could say, yeah, sure. The reason I'm going with the reason I know the pen had a cause. I am using the PSR here, but that doesn't mean that applies to everything. It could just apply to this pen, for example. It doesn't have to apply to like every single object. Or am I crazy?
No, I think he is saying. I think he's saying he's not using the PSR because the PSR commits you to every fact having an explanation, and just because you give one example of like using induction to give possible explanations for why the pin exists, it doesn't mean the principle is true because there could be other facts that don't have explanations.
That's what I've been saying this whole time, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But with
Just listen to
with,
fucking Tyler. Tyler's been on it.
with anything physical, like do you think Parker would bite that bullet? Like anything physical that it doesn't have to be a pen, anything that's in physical reality, Parker would think there's like a cause of that thing, right? Like maybe not the universe itself, but like literally anything else, there would be like some cause, right?
Probably for most things, he would accept that. Yeah.
Or wouldn't that mean the universe would then become the first cause?
But then, if you think the universe had a first cause and that there isn't a further explanation, then you wouldn't be accepting the PSR.
Well, I guess what if the universe itself is the first cause?
Oh, no, then you wouldn't be Christian.
Well, obviously not. I'm saying that's what I'm
just kidding
saying.
with
That's what it would lead you to, because everything else would need that cause.
Right, like
everything
I can't imagine what Parker would say doesn't have a cause besides maybe the universe itself. I feel like everything else in like physical reality, he would say that the PSR would apply, and he would probably just say it doesn't apply to the universe because he knows that would lead to like some like first mover argument or something. But I feel like anything else that Jaw asked, I feel like Parker would be like, well, yeah. If he asked, well, why what about the sun? Does that have a cause? What about gravity? Does this have a cause? I feel like for all these things, there would be like Parker would admit that the PSR does apply to this, right? At that point, is it not a bit of special pleading if the only thing you can point to is just the universe itself, and you're like, well, I don't know what the cause is of that, but for everything else, you would admit a PSR. How is that not just special pleading?
Everyone knows the PSR's cause. The People's Socialist Republic, their cause is the people.
That is true.
Now, this is out of my wheelhouse, but people do talk about like, oh God, I don't even want to talk about it because it's like cringe. It's like Reddit atheist tier shit.
Do it.
What people talk about, like quantum fluctuations not having a reason or an explanation for why those happen. So there may be other things that we can maybe point to.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. So I guess the two examples probably, at least that we can all think of, could be the universe itself and quantum fluctuations. And anything else that Jaw would mention, Parker would probably think the PSR applies to it. It just I don't know. It seems to me that's it's a bit. It just feels like some special pleading is happening.
That means it's true.
Because of not wanting to invoke God. Because if you say that why else would you just say the universe doesn't have a cause? Because then you have to give the cause to the universe, and you don't have to do that because you know it's going to lead in like some theological direction. So you're just like, well, no, I don't want to even commit to the PSR at all. Even though for 99.999% of things that Jaw could bring up, Parker would be fine accepting the PSR for all those things. I don't know. Just seems a little strange to me.
Most philosophers actually do not accept the PSR, if I remember correctly. It's something like 45% lean against or
you know why? Because a lot of them are atheist cocks, Brandon. And so they're doing the same thing.
That's true.
They're just like, oh, it's going to lead to God, and so I'm going to like curb my philosophy so that it just doesn't fit because they know where it leads. They're retarded, but they're not stupid. You know what I'm saying?
I too like to psychoanalyze philosophers.
Yeah, I mean, you ever see how these philosophers look like? You ever see how they sound like? I mean, it's like Jesus, man. It's fucking
profiling them.
I mean, they are kind of fake and gay.
Yeah, how many houses do they own? What's their credit score? How much can they bench? These are the things we want to know.
Are they high value men? That's the question.
Yeah, right. What's their physiognomy? It's a bunch of stuff. Okay.
More fun to psychoanalyze debate.
Also, shout out Parker's shirt.
So this would be the effect of me causing it to go up. That's the principle of sufficient reason.
He's got too many Pokemon things going on, okay?
It doesn't need to be any necessary reason. It doesn't need to be...
got that, what is that, an Ultra Ball in the background or a Great Ball?
Oh, Great Ball, yeah.
Contingent things causing, again, a contingent thing under your view is a use of the PSR.
Yeah, so the proximate and immediate principle can be contingent, but in final analysis, again, this is literally the principle of sufficient reason, that in final analysis, or sorry, not principle of sufficient reason, this is the principle of efficient causality, but the principle of sufficient reason says that they have their reason for being. If it is of itself, like God is, then it is found within itself. But then if it is outside of itself, then it would be from one of the four categories that I described to you.
So let me just clarify. Maybe we'll go through this whole argument. You agree, like God's existence is logically necessary based upon your argument, right?
Well, hold on. I'd like to stay on this because you haven't given any reason.
Wait, I promise you this will be relevant. So you agree God's existence is logically necessary,
I need you to give me an argument because I showed you. I've given you my positive argument for the PSR.
Yeah, I promise you, I'm getting a response if you'd like to let me.
Why is the why?
See, if Jaw was a real grifter, he would say like $100, and I'll never mention the PSR for the rest of this debate, and he'd get that super chat goal met in an instant. In an instant.
Why is the PSR false? Tell me right now.
Again, I don't even have to argue that the PSR is false. I just have to not affirm the PSR to be true.
So then, how are you?
You already agreed it's not necessary to affirm the PSR to be true. So let me run through what I'm trying to say.
No, how are you?
Can you point to the PSR?
You're saying that the PSR is required to.
Where did I sign the PSR?
Like within your argument, the PSR is necessary.
Yeah, it's also necessary to understand the world, though. So, yeah,
I would disagree. I don't think it's necessary.
That's a fancy glass of water.
That's where we disagree. So
I already told you that I think I can do so through induction. I don't even have to specifically do so.
That's not how induction
that you were using.
Not even what induction means. No, that's not what induction means.
So now,
and you know it. You know that's not what induction means. Come on, man. Be a little bit honest with us here. You know that's not what induction is for, even. So explain the principle of sufficient reason and why it's wrong. Take it away. I won't even talk. Explain why it's wrong.
Okay, you've asked me the same question multiple times, and I've specifically provided my response. I don't have to say that it's wrong. I just don't have to accept it. The argument that I'm trying to provide, at least for a baseline, to provide an overall analysis of kind of the conversation that we were just having, is that you think that it's necessary to have the PSR in order to establish the fact that God is a necessary being, but it's not necessary to accept the PSR, right? In order to be able to live in the world or explain the world.
I never said that. It is necessary to experience the world.
So you think the PSR is necessary to experience the world?
Yeah, because you.
Wait, you think that wait? So I don't accept the PSR right now. Do I not experience the world?
you're implicitly using it. You're still using the PSR without understanding it.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're saying that I'm implicitly using the PSR specifically within my statement, even though I don't think that it's being used.
But
so
you're saying literally.
I would say he is, like I said before, he is Parker. However it navigates the world, is you are using the PSR for at least most things. Again, maybe not all things, and maybe that's why all these fucking retard philosophers. I know, I get that, but you are, when you look at an object, you look at anything in life, you do think, what was the cause of this thing, right? You do that. So I understand that you're saying if you can even find one example, then it's not the PSR anymore, or at least it's not the hard PSR, or whatever the fuck, right? But it's like, in general life, if we allow for like a 99.99% PSR, then Parker does that. And that is kind of not necessary to experience the world. I think that's crazy, but to function, to be like a rational person, I think, yeah, you're basically applying it in 99.999% of cases. I understand if you're saying it's not 100%, that it's not a PSR, but
yeah, because you keep saying like he's applying the PSR, but giving an explanation for something or using induction, that's not applying the PSR. You're just giving an explanation, because the PSR has to do with all facts, not just an explanation here, an explanation there, or even 99% of explanations.
Right, I get that. I get what you're saying, that even if there's like one fact out of a billion that just has no cause, then the PSR is wrong. I get that. But if but you get what I'm saying, right? If we were allowing this to be a percent-based thing, then in most cases, Parker is acting in the physical world. Like, none of us act, like, even the examples we brought up, right? Maybe the universe and quantum fluctuations. It's not like when we're living our day-to-day lives, we're thinking about leptons spinning left or right. No one's thinking about that. You see something, you see a highway, you know there's a cause of that. You see the sun, you know there's a cause of that. You see a pen, you know there's some cause of this. Like, you know that, right? So for all things, except for these things that really don't apply to our day-to-day lives, we do act as if the PSR is true. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to say it. We act as if the PSR might not be true, but we all act. It's almost necessary to act as if it's true, right? Otherwise, you just see an airplane and you'd be like, well, I guess there's no sufficient or whatever. There's no, getting my terms mixed up. There's no necessary cause or whatever the right term is here for that plane. But we would know there is. You see a plane in the sky, you're not just like, wow, plane in the sky. That just randomly is a thing with no cause. And, we think, well, yeah, someone probably flew that plane and it probably took off at some point, and there was people that built that plane and they probably mined the minerals from somewhere, and we go back and back and back and back, right? Like, that's how we all operate. Am I retarded?
No, I don't think I disagree with you. I just don't like how you're using some words, so I'm not going to bicker about that. I don't think I disagree.
Leptons.
Leptons.
That's what I think about all day.
And to be clear, it doesn't mean it's right. Like, again, like, I've heard people say that's like we might live in a quantum universe, but we act as if we live in like a Newtonian universe, right? Because for all intents and purposes, we could do all this stuff with like Newtonian physics. We don't actually think about quantum physics on, like, in most cases,
Apples fall and shit.
Yeah, and that's like, so I feel like Parker's being a little stupid in this way, in my opinion, because I feel like I think Jaw's being imprecise if he's saying to experience life. No, you don't need to experience life, but you are acting as if you think the PSR is true in most of your day-to-day life. That's, I guess, what I'm saying.
Sure.
Brand's just like, fuck this guy, but I'll just say yes, so we stop talking about it.
Anyone specifically who doesn't accept the PSR can't make a sense of the world. What's the argument for that?
Yeah, I already showed you. Literally, you could prove my entire argument wrong. I will concede for this debate that I lost if you can explain why this pen is here right now, why it exists in the first place without using the PSR.
I already think I did so sufficiently without.
No, but you used the PSR, so do it without using the PSR.
No, I don't think I did so with the PSR. If you want to keep repeating the same point, like you can over and over again, that's fine if you'd like.
We can play it back. You literally said because you caused it to be there. That is the principle of sufficient reason.
Okay, I mean, if you want to keep repeating that, you can all you'd like, right? Repeat the same argument over and over again.
They're having the conversation we just had.
When it comes to the PSR, you already accepted that I don't have to accept, logically speaking, the PSR in order to be able to explain this. I can explain.
Yeah, next time I guess we'll just save it for them.
So if it's totally coherent to do so, it's not logically necessary.
Okay, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe
your argument doesn't follow.
Yeah, maybe I'm dumb and I didn't understand. Could you explain without using the 4 categories of PSR why this pen exists?
Yeah, you're asking me the same question I've already answered and responded to multiple times.
Yeah, no, I must
if you can't.
Now, am I confused? Because he's saying the 4 categories. That's the Aristotle thing. The PSR is Leibniz. Am I missing something? I
We
think
also brought
I
this
think
up.
he thinks that the PSR came from Aristotle. Yeah, I think this was mentioned, but Aristotle's 4 things. I'm looking at them right now because I already have this open. The material cause, the formal cause, the efficient cause, and the final cause. That has nothing to do with Leibniz's PSR.
Well,
Like, I mean, Leibniz might have like took ideas from Aristotle, maybe, but like they're like separate things, right?
Well, this is why I brought up
think Joel's confused.
earlier. I was saying, like, because there's extraction from this guy to Aristotle, does that now make this an Aristotle type argument? Or I guess like a principle of Aristotle just because it came from an interpretation from Aristotle?
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't see why it would.
And I think that's what not exposed DMs, but I think Brandon said that to me in Discord.
Wait, what did I say?
Wow.
I thought you were saying that this wasn't like this wasn't a form of logic.
Oh, right. Yeah, the PSR, it's not a logical principle because he was saying that earlier. It's generally considered a metaphysical principle.
Yeah.
But I think he eventually corrected that. I could be wrong though.
Oh, okay.
So this
Can
is
pass
just
this. It's fine.
debate.
I don't think that we're going to gain anything more by me explaining the same thing again.
No, I must have misunderstood. Can you explain it again? Because I don't think I understood you. Because you're saying something other than my interpretation, so I want to understand better without using the PSR. So here, I'll list the categories. You can't say that it's here because it's a cause and effect. You can't say that it's here as a means to an end. You can't say that it's here.
The existence of cause and effect does not accept the PSR.
Wait, what?
That's right.
The
Parker's right.
Of cause and effect does not entail the existence of the PSR.
So but you would agree that this exists because
Okay, I agree.
Jaw's thinking if I give an explanation for
question.
something, that's the
I'm not saying they're equal,
PSR.
they
That's
have
what
to
he's
be.
So you're
thinking.
not saying it's equal. So you can believe in cause.
Right, but as we talked about, you could give cause and effect for certain things, but the PSR would have to apply to everything, not just like
Right.
a few examples.
Yeah, they're talking past each other. Yeah.
Effect without PSR, correct?
This is a generic fallacy. I'm trying
Oh
to
my
explain
god, dude! I swear I asked the same question over and over again.
Yeah,
I'm never going to get a response to any of these direct questions.
You're making a generic fallacy. The cause and effect is a category of PSR. So I can't say necessarily that the category equals the overall principle, but using the categories implies the
You
overall
can explain it
principle.
without the PSR.
No, because you're not understanding. So for
So
example,
what's the contradiction between explaining cause and effect and not utilizing the PSR?
because cause and effect is a category of the PSR.
So you're saying cause and effect cannot exist independent of the PSR?
I would say, back to what I said before, if you're using cause and effect for 99.99% of things, except for leptons and quarks and whatever else, and the universe, then you're basically using the PSR. You basically are. I understand it might not be completely the PSR if you have any exception, but right, it's not like cause and effect just applies in like rare instances. Parker would use this for literally almost everything besides probably the examples we mentioned. I don't think anyone can think of an example besides maybe the universe itself and the quantum stuff.
Which is bad faith.
So it's like I just wish maybe, because I feel like Parker must get this, and I don't know why he just wouldn't say what kind of we're saying, where it's like, okay, yeah, I would treat this as if it's true. It's a good heuristic, but I'm not going to accept it because I don't think it applies in 100% of cases, and for it to be the PSR, it would have to. I wish that would just be specified because I feel like that would like clear things up and move this forward.
Explaining something's being using cause and effect is usage of the PSR. That's what it means.
Cause and effect exist as an independent, coherent concept outside of the PSR.
No.
So what's the contradiction outside of the PSR between
That
cause
you
and,
can't
an understanding of cause and effect? What's the
That you
contradiction?
that you can't explain the being of anything without the 4 categories of the PSR.
That's not a contradiction. You just claimed that you can't experience. You can't explain. That's not a contradiction, Jaw.
I'm explaining why your position is
Wait,
wrong.
do you know what contradiction is, Jaw?
I didn't say you brought up the word contradiction.
What is a
I just-
contradiction?
A contradiction is A not equaling B.
A not equaling A. That would be a contradiction.
Or
Not
A
A
not
equaling B.
No, it would mean that those two realities are
A not equaling B is
compatible.
not a contradiction if you think A and B are different.
No, watch. Being, non-being are contradictory, but being would be A and non-being would be B because they're different. So there can still be contradiction in two separate.
Okay, yeah, if you define B as A, you can't say that A doesn't equal B.
Yeah, now I'm just confused on what John's
Yeah.
saying.
Okay, so then if you would say that that's a contradiction, yet you could not provide that specifically when it comes to the use of cause and effect without the PSR, right, and explaining the world, then you have a complete and total issue here because your whole problem here relies upon the PSR being true, but the PSR doesn't have to be true.
Okay, can you explain why it's not true?
Wait, I don't have to explain specifically why I think it's false. I can explain why I think it's not true because I don't think there's any sufficient argument to accept it. I don't think there's any sufficient reason to accept it.
Let me recap. I explained why God exists, and then you said no, he doesn't, but I don't have to explain why, and that's our debate.
Wait, no. My argument is that I don't know that God exists. I don't know what the causes of the universe. I said this at the very beginning of the live stream. I'm an agnostic atheist. You know this about me, okay? I don't know what the causes of the universe. And very clear with that. You're the one in the positive making the positive assertion. I'm the one who's agnostic, not convinced of an argument yet.
So, but you don't have to explain why you're agnostic.
I don't know. You don't have to explain why you're agnostic?
Yeah.
Do you think you have to provide justification for being agnostic?
Yeah, you have to explain why you don't accept the positive claim. That's what agnostic.
Wait, what? Pause. Wait, hold on. So I have a burden of proof because I'm agnostic?
No, you don't have a burden of proof. You have to explain why, though. You can't just say I'm agnostic.
I have to explain why it's a burden of proof, is it not?
Yeah. So if you come to a debate,
so wait, being agnostic entails a burden of proof to draw.
You can laugh, bro. But hey, listen. If you come to a debate, what we're doing is I have the burden of proof of proving that God exists.
I don't.
And yeah, I know you have the burden though of explaining why my arguments are wrong, or else you just lose. That's how debates work.
Wait. No, you have to prove that your arguments are right. It's not that I have to.
I've done that.
Unless I'm making the positive assertion that like it's absolutely false amongst every understanding, then I don't have to make that assertion. I can just claim that I don't have sufficient reason to accept yours.
If you're in a debate, you have the burden of proof of negating the claims that I make. That's how you win the debate.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, no,
I'm agnostic on the existence of unicorns. Are you agnostic on the existence of unicorns?
Not really. I could say I'm pretty sure they don't exist.
Okay, wait. So just to be clear, like your evidence would just be the non-evidence of.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm agnostic to a 99.9% sure.
Okay, so you're agnostic on the. Yeah. Okay, so do you have a burden of proof for? So do you have a burden of proof for explaining why you don't accept that unicorns don't exist?
So if you say
unicorns exist, sorry.
So pretend that you say unicorns exist. Pretend that you are making a positive claim.
Unicorns exist.
Yeah, I don't find that convincible because you haven't provided an argument as to why they do.
That's exactly what I just said, Josh.
That's right. That's exactly what he just did.
For God. That's what I said. That's all I would have to say as an agnostic. I have no burden of proof to explain why I take a position other than I have not been convinced of a position yet.
I did.
He just used the very explanation that he said I couldn't use.
I know I did provide an argument though.
No, you didn't provide an argument that I had to accept, and that I didn't accept. I don't accept this argument.
Hold on.
I disputed the premises.
I'll give you my argument right now. You cannot properly discern or understand the world without the PSR. That's my argument.
Okay, what's the contradiction with understanding the world and not accepting the PSR?
That you cannot explain anything's reason for being.
So what's the contradiction?
That you can't explain anything's reason for
being.
That's
just a claim, not a contradiction.
Understanding reason for being is necessary to understand.
John, you just reasserting a claim is not a contradiction. I hope you know that.
You cut me off before I could even answer. No, look.
I've let you speak plenty.
But you can't. You asked me a question. You won't let me explain my.
No, go ahead. I thought you were. I thought I was clarifying.
The contradiction is that you cannot properly understand the world without the PSR. So saying that you can understand the world and rejecting PSR is a direct logical contradiction.
No, you're just making the claim that I cannot properly understand the world without the PSR. I said what's the contradiction, and then you just reassert the claim. I cannot properly understand the world without the PSR.
my evidence for that would be that nobody.
No, what's the contradiction?
I'm showing you. Nobody can and nobody ever will explain the reason for being of anything without using the 4 categories of PSR.
That's just again a random assertion that you're pre-assuming.
And you can prove it wrong by saying that.
No, wait. You can't just say you can't say
Parker's
my
cooking.
Pre-assumed claim that you have to prove that wrong in the same way that if I pre-assume unicorns exist, you wouldn't have to, as someone who's agnostic, be like, okay, give the reason why you don't accept that unicorns exist, other than like you haven't heard an argument or you don't have good enough reason or evidence.
Let me explain the where we're not connecting here. So the claim unicorns exist would be equivalent to me saying the PSR is true. Would you agree with that?
If that's the comparison, yes.
Yeah,
that's the comparison.
But then if you say you can't understand reality without unicorns, and you claim to understand reality, therefore there's a contradiction, and therefore unicorns exist, then you would have to show why that contradiction isn't true. That would be the argument for why unicorns exist. I'm saying you.
Quick question: should I hit the blinker?
Absolutely, you should.
All right. Continue.
Claim to understand reality. You can't understand reality without the PSR, but you claim to understand it and deny the PSR. Therefore, there's a contradiction. That is my argument. You have to now explain why you can still accept the PSR and understand reality at the same time.
Watch this. I specifically, I believe the only way you can understand the world is if you believe in unicorns. Okay? So if you don't believe in unicorns, you can't understand the world. What's the contradiction between not believing in unicorns and being able to then make sense of things, right? Again, just the idea that you need to believe in unicorns in order to make sense of the world.
Yeah, so let me show you. I understand the world sufficiently. I can explain the difference between being and non-being. I can explain why things are. I can explain where things came from. I can explain how substance is different from.
I don't think you can explain these things. You're just claiming you can explain these things.
I will if you need me to. I can understand all those things, and I don't accept that unicorns exist. Therefore, I have disproven your claim, and I can demonstrate.
Like you just said, I can explain all these things without specifically relying upon the PSR. I think I properly did explain it. I just don't think you accepted my explanation.
Bro is greened out right now. Holy shit!
Understanding or
good lord.
God. You're literally your only answer.
You guys are making me anxious. Stop.
Is the classical definition of God being the very basis for why you accept these things. That's the only reason. Okay.
Parker,
and that's why this is going to hit an impasse between us, because you're not going to accept any explanation for the world outside of that.
So Parker, imagine if I said that, or imagine if you said that you can't understand the world without unicorns, like you said earlier. That would be your argument for it. Now, imagine if I said, well, no, I can't understand the world because unicorns exist. That would be ridiculous. And that's what you've done. You used the PSR to explain how you can understand the world. You literally used it. Everyone saw it. We have the clip. We saw you say that cause and effect explain the reason for being for my effect. And that is the PSR. That's one of the categories of the PSR, which is ridiculous. You literally said, I can understand the world without the PSR, and then use the PSR to prove that. It's absurd.
That's not what I did. You can keep repeating. You've now repeated that a few times during the debate. Do you think that we're moving anything productive here, or do you think that we're kind of just hitting an impasse?
I think we did a lot of productive stuff, that you can't deny the existence of God without denying the first principle.
He's just going to keep asserting that, like, these claims that he's made throughout the debate that he has yet to prove.
Yeah, I mean, so just to be clear, you are definitively rejecting the principle of sufficient reason in front of your audience.
I have no reason to accept it or think that it's necessary to accept in order to explain the world. You have said it's logically necessary to have it in order to explain the world, but failed to provide the contradiction between explaining the world and not utilizing the PSR. So, okay, I mean, you've clearly provided no sufficient argument in order to be able to establish your perspective. We can either continue talking about this. We could. Yeah, I want to talk questions about your worldview, like maybe your understandings of like heaven, hell. We could go into like the POE if you'd like, or any of those.
Yeah,
things if you'd like.
I would like to move on as well. I think we're definitely wasting time here. But just as a conclusion, just to be fair to everyone, I'm going to ask you to do this one more time for us, just so that we can.
No, just move on, please, God.
We're not going to do the same.
Got a rhetoric, Max, dude. Got to get those clips.
It's a good clip.
I just want you to answer the question.
Impasse on, and that it's not productive.
Parker, I just want to move on, but I want you to just answer one question, okay?
Hey, Jaw, we've already.
It's going to be the same question. It's going to be the same question.
The POE, if you'd like to talk about like your conceptions of heaven and hell, things like that. We can. I don't think that this is a productive conversation when you keep asking the same question over.
No, this is where I'm getting the dopamine. This is where we need to stay.
And then not providing the contradiction.
So you're not going to answer the crux of the argument, just to be clear.
Noah, I've already given you the argument.
But I don't understand your argument. So
I understand. You might not be able to ever understand, Jaw. I understand that. You might have some issues with tracking. Welcome to varsity. That's all I got to say.
So you're not going to explain it at all further during the debate? You're just going to make an assertion and not explain
it?
Dude,
I've already explained it multiple times. I thought we were moving on.
I just want you to explain it one more time so that the audience can understand.
No, I'm good. I've already explained it multiple times. I don't feel the need to go over it again. If you take that as a win, because I don't feel the need to do that. If you want to go watch back the argument, you can go and click on the beginning of the stream. You can go back to the very beginning. I don't think I need to restate the argument that we just clarified is not productive for us to engage in the very first place.
So Parker,
just go ahead, watch this. He's going to clip this, by the way. This is going to be the point that he clips. Is me saying, look back at the beginning of the video or the argument that I provided, and I'm not going to restate the argument for the fourth time.
Parker, okay. So just to be clear, I'm holding a golden trophy.
He got me, chat. He got me. Wow, he's asking me to restate the same argument multiple times. He really got me.
No, I'm just making a clarification. Parker, I'm holding a golden trophy that has the victory to this debate.
I've already told you multiple times. How many more times do you want to do this?
You're not even letting me talk.
Because you're just going to re-ask the same question.
I'm not asking the question.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
going to be framed in a different way, but the same thing?
No, I'm not asking the question. Okay. I have a
golden trophy. Can't do it now.
That says Parker won the debate on it. All he has to do is answer this question. You don't want to do it.
Again, you specifically are not accepting my answer. I already know what the type of conversation is going. I know how you're going to respond, given I've already said it the way that I was, because we've already had that aspect of the debate.
So you won't answer.
You're not going to think it's a sufficient reason, right? Even though I think it sufficiently explains the world, and I think I can explain the world without there being this. And even so, we just need to provide the idea that it's possible. It's not that the idea, you have to argue that it's contradictory. You have yet to provide the contradiction. So the idea that you can is derivative or is going to be downstream.
I don't even know who would win that fight. I actually don't even know.
Conceptually the case.
I'd pay to watch it though.
One task
to be clear.
And you don't want to do it.
Wait, who's fighting Destiny?
I'll give you a trophy that says
Parker versus Destiny.
Right now.
I think I'd pick Parker.
To us right now.
I think I would pick Parker too.
Show him on the screen. Put him right.
He's taller. He's got the range.
He seems taller, yeah, and he seems maybe more scrappy.
The thing is, that will never be able to happen. So
I don't know. Destiny seems pretty scrappy.
Is never going to have an answer from an atheist perspective, regardless.
He might grab your balls if he starts losing.
Yeah, but he's the underdog.
He'd grab your balls if he was winning. Okay.
You answer the question I'm asking.
To your liking is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying to my
you're assuming the only explanation is the classical understanding of God.
Dude, I told you that I would move on after you answer the question. I just want you to do it.
Yeah, which you know.
Let's move on, please, God. Just a brief pause. I think I've realized I hate philosophical debates. I actually hate them. I love philosophical discussions. I fucking hate philosophical debates. Fucking shit show. Fucking awful times every single time. Philosophical discussions, fun, enjoyable, engaging. But fuck both of these people, okay? I mean, I think I like Jaw, but fuck both these people in this interaction, and fuck Parker all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the problem with all this is like. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say I'm riding with Parker, dude. I'm Team Parker right now.
Really?
Sorry, go ahead. Absolutely.
But the only thing I was going to say is like this. I think like a lot of this stuff has to do with like the guy on the left trying to make a very overly complicated claim and trying to apply it to something that can be explained away by a very overgeneralization. So I don't like, this is why I don't like philosophy. It makes things like overly complicated to a certain point when you can just make simple claims and work through it. I don't know. Well, this is just one of those things. It's just one of those things that puts me to fucking sleep, and I can't even pay attention to what both of them are saying.
I think that's a format of like, these are two people that are both trying to clip farm. They're both trying to like get their wins in. Like this is not. This is like not. Yeah. Like I think like even the 3v3 we had with like Brandon and Testy and the other people, Horace and stuff. It's like that seemed at least like more productive. It was more interesting. It wasn't just like people trying to like do gotchas and stuff. It's like so it can get into the weeds, but I think if like both people are trying to like engage honestly and understand each other and explain, then it's like I think it actually is like interesting and stuff. Maybe not for everyone, but this is just like. And I blame maybe both of them, but I don't know if I'd probably do the same thing if I was going up against Parker, because I've watched Parker enough. I know he's a little shit. So I would feel like I would be entering something that's adversarial, and I feel like I would have to act as adversarial as possible also, because you're not entering with someone who's like trying to understand. You're not going against someone who's like gonna just like be reasonable and like, you know, you're going against someone who's trying to farm you. And so it's just impossible to have a good discussion. Now, I don't know Jaw from Adam, so maybe Jaw does the same thing. I don't know. He's probably also trying to clip farm here, but I don't know if he usually does this. Again, this is the first I've ever seen of him.
Is this a good time to apologize for falling asleep during your guys' debate? Because I did mean to stay awake to wait for the link and vote for you.
You were the reason that it wasn't a tie.
You lost the debate for Confluence.
Yeah, you fucking did it. So this would be a good time to apologize, because you're the reason that we lost. We lost by 1 point. Okay, one fucking vote. And also, Avarice told me he voted for Brandon. So between the two of you, we would have fucking won otherwise. Thank you, World Radio. Good to see you, Isaac. Cole needed. Why have AVG and Confluence never been seen together in the same room? Are they two distinct people? Someone already said this before, and I don't deny it. When you see AVG, that is me wearing a wig. Okay, I'm just like being 10 toes down. I'm being real with you guys. So thank you, Isaac, for the $5. I think we have another super chat here from Hank. New person to the channel, I think, unless you're not new, in which case I feel horrible, but I'm pretty sure you're new, so thank you. Wait, the classic, this isn't one guy debating himself. Yeah, this one. They do look almost identical, just with like separated by a couple of years. It's very strange. It's very strange. In fact, if these people everyone's saying they're flirting, if these people like just flat out fucked, it would just be masturbation, I think.
So which guy's from the future?
Which side? Oh, the left is definitely from the future.
Okay, so at least Parker got his act together.
Yeah, Parker, he stopped being a filthy atheist. Yeah. He kept doing the debate bro stuff, but you can take the boy out of the debate sphere, but you can't take the debate sphere out of the boy.
He got money.
But but he's definitely gotten better in his later years, so we appreciate that. All right, let's keep going.
They can go back and click if they want to see the answer that I provided. They can scroll back to the beginning of the debate, John. So if you want to spend the rest of our debate doing this, like I'm just gonna honestly, I'm just gonna say that this is a waste of time.
So you're not gonna answer?
I've already answered.
No, you have. I assure you, you have not in a good way that you would be proud of looking back on this debate. I'm giving you an opportunity to win. You don't want to take it.
Move on, please move on.
To win.
Okay,
Come on,
I don't think that's gonna really like keep me awake at night.
Yeah, well, I think it might actually.
You think so?
Yeah, no, I think denying.
Do you actually think that, or are you just saying that for like the debate stuff?
I think denying the
you think I'm actually like at nighttime going to be awake? Like, oh my god, I wish I would have responded differently.
Well, how do you even know that you're going to go to sleep at nighttime? How do you know that? Because you denied the principle of sufficient reason. How do you know? How do you know? You don't have sufficient reason. How do you know that? How do you know that?
Again, I can't explain that I'm going to go to sleep at night under the atheist worldview. Yeah, okay, that's such a good argument, John.
No.
Atheist don't sleep. Confirmed.
If you can show me Jesus, I will believe.
No, you are not representing
the trophy that we win. Like, if I can have experience right now, can you just pray for me?
You're not representing any atheist. I want to make that very clear. This is not the atheist worldview. Atheists accept the principle of sufficient reason.
There is no atheist worldview. There's not one atheist worldview. Like, I was obviously being like ridiculous. I was being making a joke.
99% of atheists accept the principle of sufficient reason. Like 99.999. You might be the only one that.
Brandon, you said that's not true.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong. Oh my god.
Okay, we're going AI. What percent of atheist philosophers accept the PSR?
I want to ask a question to all the debaters on the panel, and you can do clockwise, snakewise, whatever. I'm just curious to all you guys. Is there ever been a time that you had a debate and that you went home, put your head on the pillow, and then you realized you lost the debate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never lost a debate. I've only tied once. Well, actually, that's not true. I lost a debate to Kel, but she just yelled at me.
But it wasn't
Losing a
for-
debate that counts crazy.
At least for me, it wasn't substantive.
That would keep me up for many nights.
I rhetorically lost, and I did not like that.
Yeah, that's honest.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, we got something. Okay. At least from my ChatGPT searching Phil papers, only 28% of atheist / non-theist philosophers accepted the PSR.
It's close.
So it's not really 99.9%. Okay, at least according to AI. According to
He was
AI,
off by like, I don't know, 5%.
Off by a little bit. Yeah, he was pretty close.
Yeah.
He was pretty close.
Explicitly rejected the principle of sufficient reason. I just want you to be aware of that.
That's definitely not the case. I know multiple atheists that don't accept the PSR. I've been having these debates for a long time. Like I've talked to plenty of. Would you ever like to talk to someone named Danny Felton?
I have no idea who that is.
Well,
This does seem like a weird comment, but this, if you know the lore of the panel, this comment that you're replying to actually makes sense. But it's not about Jaw. It's just about previous panel things that have happened. Okay, just to clear that up.
I'd love for you to talk to him. Would you say that you'd be willing to debate him?
Confluence. I'm glad you
Telling you
did.
to debate someone else in the middle of our debate? Parker, come on.
Wait, sir, don't act like this isn't reasonable. I'm saying at a different time.
This is the same thing Dean did. This is the same thing Dean did.
Wait, don't act like I'm
approach
bringing
other
someone up
people
on the debate right now. I'm not. I'm just saying like if you want to debate someone on this later on, you can talk to this person. Right? Like this isn't me bringing someone up on the debate. Like how dishonest of you to try to like literally act like you won because I'm trying to bring someone up when I'm not. I'm just saying like if you want to talk to someone about this who is an atheist, you can talk to Danny about this later on.
He should talk to Danny, actually. That'd be a great person for Jaw to talk to.
What's wrong about that?
I have no idea who Danny is. He could be a serial killer. I'm not going to agree to a debate.
Oh,
with
how
him.
fucking dishonest, dude. Like, wait, do you really want me to continue
It
this
is a little
conversation?
dishonest.
I mean, I would like you to have a conversation.
Like,
with
come on,
Danny.
like, you're acting like such a child. Like, you know, I'm just giving
Wait, how is that dishonest? I don't know who fucking Danny is. So why would he agree to debate somebody who has no idea? If he truly doesn't know, how's that dishonest?
Yeah, I don't think that was dishonest. I don't know.
I
why he
think it was
said that.
dishonest. I don't know.
You think he knows who Danny is? He's just pretending he doesn't?
Well,
He might, actually.
I mean, I figured if he knew who Parker is, he'd know who Danny is.
Who the fuck is Danny?
What's his what?
I don't know.
He's
I
the
don't
guy
know who the fuck Danny
that-
is either. I don't know why you're saying if you know Parker, you know Danny. I've heard of Parker.
Yeah.
Well,
If you said Dean, I would agree with that. If you probably know Parker, you probably know Dean. But who the fuck is Danny?
Well, I don't know if Parker still streams with Danny on occasion, but Danny and Parker used to like stream together, and Danny is like the person that Parker learned a lot of the philosophy of religion stuff from.
Yeah, see,
He's the guy that went on Jordan Peterson's Jubilee and like what did he say? He didn't make him cry, but he was asking him about Mary, and he was like, "Well, I think you're nothing," and then he walked off. He was that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy.
See, I just don't think y'all know Parker.
No, I do. I'm just realizing I fucking hate that guy, and that guy might be a serial killer. So I'm kind of on John's
I love Danny.
side.
I know
Oh,
Danny. Danny's awesome.
If I'm thinking of the same guy, absolutely not.
That's
You
probably
see
why
one
I said
interaction. He is
serial
like
killer.
very good faith, and he actually cares about these conversations. He was a Christian for a very long time, so he enjoys these conversations, and he's not like a debate bro necessarily, unless you like force him to be. Like he'll be good faith. He'll try to walk you through things, and he'll try to understand. Like he's really good.
Okay, I'll keep an open mind.
Why did he do that to Jordan Peterson then?
Yeah.
Probably because he was told that he would be talking to a Christian.
Exactly.
And then Jordan Peterson was there, and then he didn't want to claim he was a Christian. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I don't. It probably came. It probably came off as dishonest to him.
I wonder if the email was ambiguous the way they got Jordan Peterson there.
Yeah, from JBP's point of view, he said that it was supposed to be him. He never said it was supposed to be one Christian versus whatever 20 atheists.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what JBP says. He says the video is mistitled by Jubilee. Just saying.
You like an example of someone you could talk to who's an atheist who has an understanding that's compatible with the one that I just mentioned outside of the context of me, because you just claimed I'm the only atheist, or that you're the only atheist you ever heard that has not accepted the PSR.
Good to see you, Joan.
Wait, so does Danny deny?
Who is my flesh body?
It's not a deny,
I'll
it's
have to
not
think
accept,
about that.
Right? He would run an argument that he doesn't accept the PSR. Yes.
Danny does not accept the principle of sufficient reason.
An argument he will run that. Yes.
Wow, that's how do you know that off the top of your head?
Because I've talked to Danny and I know Danny.
You talked to Danny about the principle of sufficient reason enough.
Yeah, like do you know who Moshi is?
I don't know who any of these people are.
He's a Muslim who used to do these debates. I used to do Proof to Me God Exists lives, and I debated him like years back. These conversations I had with him, especially about like the PSR and things like that, are conversations I had years ago, where specifically I had this direct dialogue with him, and we had some of these similar arguments because he runs a contingency argument. So I've dealt with these similar arguments before.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are. We can move on, but
that's fine.
Again, it's going to be hard to have any conversation if you deny the principle of sufficient reason. I just want to make that clear.
It's that I don't accept it. That's different than saying that you think it's false. That's just saying that you don't accept it.
You don't.
You understand the difference between not accepting something to be true and believing it to be false?
So, but you don't believe it's false. Is that what you're saying?
I'm agnostic on it.
You're agnostic on the principle of sufficient reason.
Yes.
So then you're not even making a claim that my argument is wrong. You're just saying I don't even know if it's right.
I'm making an argument that I have no reason to accept it.
And so I've given you reasons, and you're just saying that you don't have to explain why those reasons are wrong.
I've already what? Say that one time.
I've given you reasons as to why the principle of sufficient reason is true, and you haven't responded.
No. I responded to that. You just didn't accept the response. Like I gave you a very sufficient response to that. You didn't provide me the contradiction between not accepting the PSR and being able to understand the world.
So I don't remember any response that you gave as to why.
What was the contradiction? I just said it. What was the contradiction between not accepting the PSR and understanding the world?
I've already given you that multiple times. That you cannot.
Right back into it. Fuck.
Yeah,
it's a looping.
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
I'll give it to you right now.
Wait. We didn't claim.
Good night, Brett.
Simply that you can't make a sense of the world. And so there's a contradiction between not accepting the PSR. Right.
We got 10 minutes left in Confluence Land. So
I guarantee you PSR is lasting like 10 minutes.
And saying that C does not equal A plus B would be the contradiction.
Yeah, this is.
You're saying
we're halfway done the debate. We've made almost no progress.
I didn't say that.
Well, Parker has to leave like
we made progress.
Is that you understand the world?
Parker has to leave like an hour and a half into the debate, so it's actually almost over anyways.
Wait, like then it's just Jaw talking to himself or what?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, we could probably kill this whole thing tonight then. Damn.
It might not be worth it, but we'll see.
It might be. They might move off the PSR at any moment, okay?
Accept the PSR, or actually here, let me say this real quick. I messed it up. A would be understanding the world. B would be saying that you deny the principle of sufficient reason.
I think, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like 3 topics.
Would be
right overall.
And it through denial. Those are.
Yeah, they said they're going to the problem of evil and the afterlife and stuff. I want to hear that.
So
no, they never get to that.
Yeah,
they have to reschedule.
That it's necessary.
Really?
They're never going to debate again.
Have you seen this whole thing, Brandon?
Yeah, I gave you a contradiction.
I watched it until Parker left. Yeah, Parker keeps getting a phone call that he has to go and something.
He was running. He was running.
That's right.
Yeah, let's fucking go. My worldview is intact, based.
Do you want me to explain the contradiction now?
Okay. I don't think you can. If you want to try to do that again, go for it. But the same thing's going to happen again. You're just going to restate the claim.
So you're just not going to explain it?
You're the one who's trying to explain it right now.
Yeah, so the explanation would be that all things have their reason for being in 4 categories. And we can know this by apophatic description, that there is no way that you can describe any other thing having its reason for being outside of these 4 categories. Therefore, these 4 categories must be the only way that you can understand the world.
Again, he just reasserts the claim. So
I made
an apophatic at this point, John. We can.
What is apophatic conversation? What does apophatic mean?
I'm not going to do this whole bullshit.
You don't know what apophatic means?
No.
Apophatic means describing something by
rage.
So I made an apophatic argumentation that you would have to refute.
Would you like to move forward?
So you won't refute my
I think I already have. If you'd like to move forward,
that was a new argument.
I'm not going to do this thing where we just talk about like whether we're going to continue on with the same point.
That was a brand new argument. You're not going to respond to it?
What's the brand new argument? Go for it one more time.
I made an apophatic argumentation for the principle of sufficient reason.
Yeah, you're saying if I don't accept these 4 things, then I cannot make sense of the world. That's a claim. Okay. Okay, so then say it one more time.
My apophatic argumentation was that we cannot describe the world in any way other than these 4 ways, and therefore these 4 ways.
That's the same thing I just said. Okay.
No,
if you'd like to move on, I'm willing to do that. If not, I don't.
We can move on. I think I've made my point on this topic. So
Can you move on now?
Going back to my argument,
I think I won, but let's get in it one more time.
Like your
let's run it back one more time.
What you see to be a Christian, what you see to not be a Christian.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just to start off with hell, just like real question, right? Real basic question. Like, do you think most Christians are going to go to hell? Like self-described Christians are going to go to
hell? Self-described Christians, yes.
You think most self-described Christians are going to go to hell, including most self-described Christians in your chat?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think most Catholics are going to go to hell?
I would say my chat is an individual subset that could be more inclined towards the truth. So I would say the percentage is probably lesser of people that would go to hell. But I would say, just as Christ said, the path is.
Oh, thinks we're going to hell, Big Soda.
Parker needs to jump on him.
All their considerations. If they were to die today on their deathbed.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a specific percentage on it, but I would say that overall for all believing Christians, I don't know about my specific sub group. It's only 10,000 people. It's not that many right now. But I would say for universal self-proclaiming people, which is inclling the non-baptized, yeah, they would go.
If you want to go to hell,
okay, so
you should be happy.
You think about like most Catholics as well.
Self-proclaiming Catholics.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's pretty demonstrable. I mean, I think it's only something like 30% of them actually believe that Christ is truly present in the Eucharist. So like there's explicit rejection of what is necessary by precept according to the magisterium.
So you do think like 70% of Catholics are not going to heaven based on those arguments?
No, because you can implicitly fulfill what is necessary by precept through ignorance. So, for example, I could say that everything in the Bible is necessary to believe, but you can implicitly fulfill certain beliefs in the Bible through your ignorance. So, for example, I don't know every single word that Paul wrote, but I can implicitly fulfill it by saying, I affirm all of Paul's writings. And since even though I don't have a perfect understanding of all of Paul's intentions, I can still implicitly fulfill the teachings that I don't know by affirming the thing holistically. So Catholics can affirm the authority of the church holistically, but through their ignorance of not.
If you drop the L, that would be based, Testy. That'd be based.
They could still have some sort of misconception and still be saved despite their ignorance.
Okay. So just to like go through these arguments. Wait, what? Can I have like a few minutes? I'm getting a personal call. I can tell you later what it is. I can't say anything.
I trust you.
Oh, here comes the running. Here comes the fucking running.
Yeah, they got off the PSR argument. He ran
during the debate, and I trust that it is, good reason. I trust that Parker isn't, going doing anything. We can answer super chats.
He's got to go goon. Being an atheist.
I'm here with my friend.
Anxiety's through the roof.
I hit 0. Oh God, I hate when I do that. When I mean to hit the arrow key and I hit fucking 0. You guys ever fucking do that?
No.
God damn, I hope we're here. I think so.
Hey,
I'm actually professional confluent.
We'll have a discussion. Have a discussion. Shirt Parker Jaw. What is the best commentary on St. Augustine's Confessions? Also pray for me, my friend Eric. Yes, I will pray for you. I can't hear you, Parker. I can't hear you.
And he's going to act like there's technical issues.
Sorry, I'm dealing with stuff.
Yeah, you're good.
It's really shitty time for everything to happen.
Yeah.
If I get another callback, I might have to like fully leave. Again, this is not something I planned, and
yeah, no, you're good.
Something I would want. Like
He planned
it. Look, he's even like scratching in his face. You know,
like the POE.
We need to get one of those like body language experts on.
But for now, this person says
There's lying through his fucking teeth.
Well, there's no reason to run. He cooked. You know.
Yeah, and if he cooks so hard, why is he running? You know.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, you can.
As soon as it moves into hell, he's like, I can't witness. I can't fight a Catholic person on the afterlife. I can't do it. Problem of evil, the theodicies and all that shit. He's like, I can't handle it. All broken handles the PSR. We're seeing in real time.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess I'll ask you more questions, and then
Fuck this guy for thinking I'm going to hell.
like the POE and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, fuck Jaw.
Get like the callback and actually, like do more specific stuff with them after, and I can text you about that if you need anything. Just
He probably wouldn't lead us in prayer.
Your specific view, and then I
Probably not.
So you definitely have to go.
Yeah, like I can explain it to you over text later. I don't want to.
I'm like another like 10 minutes.
Based on the message I sent you.
I don't know if it's worth going over, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so
it's brutal. It's brutal. Yeah.
Pretty
brutal.
Are going to get to your understanding of heaven. You do believe that they're going to hell. That brings you a lot of.
I think we got through like 20 minutes of actual content.
You don't meet that criteria. Get to heaven.
Actually, yeah.
And then 40 minutes of like meta.
According to desire.
Yeah, despite us like being almost done the debate, we've gotten through basically like no real substance.
Trumps all of
We might as well finish it. We got 10 minutes and we're at 1.5 speed, so got like 7 minutes left or whatever.
Okay, and so like you don't think you should necessarily view it that way in accordance with God, but that's the way you personally do so as a human?
I would say that I have imperfections in my will that could cause me to despair of God's ultimate plan, but I do intellectually assent to the fact that I trust his plan and his reprobation and his elect.
So you see those wishes you have to be imperfections, or like the wrong way to feel?
Yeah. So specifically the desires that I'm talking about are those which are in opposition to God's will. So yeah, I would say that those are imperfect desires.
That's true. I want Testy to go to heaven, but I see that as an imperfection. That if I was like truly pure, I'd be like, fuck that guy. I hope he fucking burns. But it's only my sinful imperfections that's like, no, I want Testy to go to heaven.
Right.
So I agree with that.
Okay. I guess that's like an interesting. I guess it's like an unintuitive thing. I maybe wouldn't have expected you to respond to. So you do like not necessarily. You think ideally you wouldn't wish that those people made it to heaven, all things considered.
Are you talking about prior to the fact or in hindsight?
In hindsight.
Yeah, so St. Thomas actually addresses this. I believe it wouldn't be in question 23. He kind of implicitly addresses it in question 23 of the Summa Theologica, where he talks about reprobation and predestination. But ultimately, the perfection of desire would be that which is in perfect accordance with God's will. So we would actually delight in the justice being shown.
I want you to go to heaven too. It's just the defect of my sinful nature that wants that, though, Testy. You know, so I gotta repent of that.
With justice, and then you see a murderer get put in prison. You would delight in the justice that's
The
being
purest form of myself would want you to burn in hell.
We trust that God is the perfect judge and the perfect and perfectly just person. So we can trust.
I was perfected in Christ. I'd want y'all burning.
The same type of delight that you can experience from seeing a murderer go to prison, or seeing somebody who's really mean on the internet have their account taken away or something like that.
So just to clarify in like more specific terms, you would yourself, like ideally and in hindsight sense, find delight in the idea that your loved ones or family members didn't make it to heaven?
I would delight in the justice being shown, like I said.
Oh no! Come on, man.
That's a really unintuitive thing. So, like for
I
example,
think you kind of have to bite that bullet.
You would delight in the idea that your kid.
You're a Catholic, maybe.
The true justice your kid deserved.
Well, you're saying you can't be sad in God. You can't be sad in heaven. So how would you explain the fact that
20 people? Would you delight in the fact that your kid?
It's one thing to say that like you're not sad in heaven. It's another thing to say, and I've heard people say this before, that you're going to be, not only will you not be sad that your loved ones are burning in hell, but you also should rejoice that justice is being served. Like there's just something on its face that's so like omnicuct, so against the nature of God itself.
Were we not telling? Were we not telling Testy?
Very wrong. Yeah.
Were we not just telling Testy that we want him to burn in hell?
No, I don't. If only I could be purely perfected,
Well, in heaven we will be perfected.
That's true. Then I guess I'll be, all these people I care about, I'm happy. When I think of them suffering, I just get joy. Somehow heaven has become like some Freudian fucking hellscape that we're just calling heaven. Like, holy shit. Man, that's such a fucking crazy thing. I don't know if that's like normal. I don't know if about Catholicism. Don't know if that's like a normal. Again, I've heard people say this before, but I don't know if it's like a standard church teaching. But it's fucking absolutely mental illness.
Went to prison as a consequence of that.
I bet you Emmett would say the same thing.
I would think it's the right thing.
Yeah,
he might. I hope not, but there's a good chance.
For like a typical understanding, we're like comparing murder. For me, it's different. Maybe not for you because you have like a different understanding of morality. Like my understanding of morality is we consider certain like types of things that are wrong to be vastly different. Like I don't consider murder to be anywhere near the same as I consider like a typical act that someone would engage in. So like a typical person or like a loved one or a family member, I wouldn't say that they are like so bad that I would then like delight in like them going to jail. Right? I wouldn't want to send my loved ones or family members to jail. But it seems like here you are arguing that your loved ones or family members are evil enough to be sent to something like that.
Yeah, so that's where the distinction between the antecedent will and the consequent will comes in. So we would actually be perfectly aligned with God in the sense of his antecedent will, that he does not desire any go to hell. That's part of his antecedent will. But then there's also the consequent will, that since people sin and violate the infinite goodness that is the glory of God, we can then say that we can delight consequently that their evil is being punished. And we can say, I promise you this, only extremely evil people who deserve hell will be in hell.
I thought he just said I would be in hell.
Didn't he say
announcement upon your?
You deserve it,
I feel like he's just because I feel like he's just because he said the majority of people in his own chat that call themselves Catholic are going to hell. So when he says extremely evil, he doesn't mean I think what most people mean by that term. He means like someone who's like maybe a bit lukewarm, not serious enough. He gave the example of denying transubstantiation as that would make you eligible for hellfire. So that's what he means when he says very evil people is people that reject transubstantiation. So most people mean very evil people.
I better be in a higher form of hell than Brandon in this guy's worldview.
I know. Are we? I'd have to ask him. Maybe. Are we going with the freaking atheists? Am I going to be sitting there with Testy? Like, I mean, I guess we can hang out and stuff, but like, man, it's like, where's the fucking justice here?
Salvation.
Crazy times.
I'll like, go through that because maybe you don't feel comfortable in doing so. It seems like I would be under your view because I'm an atheist.
I would say that it is absolutely necessary for salvation to be subject to the Roman Pontiff, to believe that God exists, to receive the sacraments, to go to heaven. That would be my answer to your question.
Yeah. So like, if I were to die right now without any of those things happening, right? Would you delight in me going to hell?
I believe that there are extraordinary means in which God can save someone due to his infinite grace and mercy. But I would say, as a general rule, it is absolutely necessary to believe the specific things that I believe.
I feel like that's a politician-y way to respond.
Yeah,
the way that the church has responded for 2000
well, to be
like,
politician-y?
To answer the fucking question.
It feels like when you ask a politician a question and they try to answer it in a non-direct way.
Would you delight in him being in hell?
Absolutely necessary to believe the things that I believe.
Well,
Maybe
you're
not
saying it's necessary to believe things you believe, but like the question was,
from
like,
one with Christ, I would. No, just a dirty Protestant, apparently.
In hell. They would only be in hell if they are guilty of extreme evil, of sin, and defiance of eternal goodness. And since that person would be in hell, I would delight in the justice being shown, consequently, but not necessarily in accordance with the antecedent will of God, because the antecedent will of God determines that he desires no people to go to hell.
Sometimes theology is low-key just like a way to like talk yourself into like the most like god-awful positions.
Shit. Yeah.
Humanly imaginable. And then like calling evil good and good evil, and just like there's omni-cucking all parts of yourself.
See,
that's crazy.
This is why I'm a fan of the God of the Gap, because anytime I find a gap, I can just throw God in. It makes it so much easier.
Fuck yeah, dude. Easy.
This is why I like being a filthy Protestant and an esoteric one at that, because I could just say fuck this gay shit, man. I don't have to bow to some pontiff that if he wants me to think that I should like feel joy. Again, I don't even know if that's a position of the Catholic Church. I'm trusting that Jaw is saying it is, but like, yeah, that's just like
what do you
goes
think about
against
it? Brendan finds the gap and he starts pointing at it, smack a little God in it, fixes it. Brandon's still freaking out. He can't fix the gap. I fixed the gap.
Yeah.
Oh, lobster coming in hot. It's very clear scallops experience pain.
Wrong live, dude. Wrong stream.
So am I like extremely evil to you?
I would say every person has some form of extreme evil. Any sin would be extreme evil.
Any sin is.
See, that's an easy yes, though. He's talking to Parker. That's an easy yes. Absolutely. Bro's extremely evil. Come on.
Yeah.
So telling your kids Santa Claus exists is extreme evil?
I would say that is evil, yes.
Like extreme evil.
It's a defiance of the goodness of God, yeah.
So it's extreme evil to tell your kids Santa Claus exists.
Yeah, because it's lying. That's wrong.
Even though it's like for fun? Like it's for fun.
Why is doing evil permissible because it's fun? Like if
I don't consider evil. Maybe it's the difference.
I mean, street racing's fun.
Oh my god, this is like, see, I wish more, at least I'm getting dopamine out of this. I'm getting worked up, I'm getting some stuff going, because it's like, if you're doing some imagination game with your kid, is that then evil? Because you're lying for fun? Like, what's the fucking line here? Like, has Bro never interacted with children before? Has Bro never
pretend
before?
Right. It's not evil, it's extreme evil.
Yeah, not even just like this is some, maybe not some, it's some suboptimal thing. This is extreme evil. Holy shit.
The world, but I don't consider it like an extremely evil thing to tell your kids Santa Claus exists. Like when my mom told me Santa Claus exists, I wouldn't like, in retrospect, look back on that as an extremely evil thing.
Yeah, so denying the eternal goodness of God is evil. That's pretty straightforward.
So like you mean not believing in it?
No, even sin is defiance of that. But we make a distinction between venial and mortal sins. Are you aware of that distinction?
I'm aware of the distinction. How do you hash that out?
Yeah, so it's found in the Catechism and also in St. Thomas's writings that there's different gravity of different sins, and those that are of grave matter and with full consent and will are gravely sinful or mortally sinful. And so we would say that those are more grave, more extreme sins. And probably telling your kid that, Santa Claus is real, it's still a lie. It's still
I agree, Brett.
Goodness, so I'd say it's extremely evil, but it's not necessarily a grave evil. But also there's just original sin in general, which we would consider to be worthy of the punishment of hell.
Okay. Do you think it's wrong?
He didn't even drink his water there. I don't know why he did that.
Even though it was
that was an Obama Flint, Michigan sip.
Like you argue, I would argue like over the past few decades, we've seen abortion while it was legal decrease in the amount of abortions that has occurred. Given contraceptive access.
Respectfully, what does this have to do with the prompt, does God exist? Just in the most respectful way. Because even if the effects of God are false, that doesn't mean that he doesn't exist. Right?
Let me be clear. The questions I'm providing right now are simply just questions about your worldview in the way in which you specifically posit it. Okay, I'm not claiming because of these things that no understanding of God exists. That's not the claim that I'm making. I was simply just trying to question your understanding of your worldview and the way that you perceive things and the morals that you get from them.
So are you agreeing with my argument that God exists?
Right. Those 3 drops of water was good.
Demonstrating that God doesn't exist.
Okay, if you don't want me to ask any questions about your morals, that's fine.
I just let you ask questions for 30 minutes, actually.
Not about my morals. Not about your morals.
You just asked a lot of questions and I answered all of them pretty well.
Can I tell you why I was? Because I'm getting the call now. Can I tell you specifically why I was before I leave?
Yeah, sure. You can explain why, but you're not going to provide an example as to why you believe God doesn't exist.
I only have a few minutes before I have to go.
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to get the call.
I'm not saying that you're not going to call. I'm just saying you had an hour and a half to provide some answer.
I did. Are we going to go back into the? Are we literally going to go back into the whole thing that like I just didn't provide an answer to the original?
Fuck it, might as well.
So I provided
Let's redo it over. Let's set up a second debate for the PSR. That's what I want to see.
The second way from the Summa Theologica. I don't think you provided any refutation of that argument.
Okay, again, I said that you would have to provide an argument to accept it, not that I rejected it.
We actually are. Okay, we're actually doing that. That's fine.
You don't have no burden. You have a burden to refute the claims that I'm presenting.
I don't think that I have a burden to refute if I'm agnostic.
Yeah, he's running the argument, so when Parker has to answer the phone and leave, he ran.
To say, I don't know.
You just cut it to like 30 minutes of the end of the debate.
It's illogical. You have to prove that it's illogical. You didn't do so.
Yeah, I did. I showed using.
Well, John, I have to respond to this because it's like pretty urgent. Would you like to? We can text about establishing something maybe on like the POE later on.
A little gay to be texting though.
And whatnot. We can text about that. I do apologize for this happening kind of like midway. This was like not expected. We did get through like nearly like an hour and 35 minutes. Then,
yeah, we did.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you. Good luck with your debate with Dean. And let me know when you're going to talk to Cool Guy.
We actually already talked. We've been in conversation for a really long time.
Cool
This was
kid?
on the stuff that was brought up.
Cool guy. He's like a TikTok philosophy guy.
I actually don't know his specific
excited.
worldviews, but he knows a lot about Thomas, and we agree on our interpretation.
Cool kid.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Well,
That's who
I guess I
Parker
can ask
goes
you
to
guys this later
for
on. Have a good rest of the
philosophy
night.
advice.
See you later.
Yeah, God bless you.
All right. I'm gonna get off everyone right now. Thank you, everyone. I love y'all.
All right. Well, I'll answer super chats for the rest of the time since
I would like to see Parker talk to him about the problem of evil.
Yeah.
But
That'd probably be more interesting.
I would say I would prefer him to talk to Danny, but I think Danny would probably destroy him in a nicer way, but I want it to be more even. I think they're like a decent matchup, even though I think Parker knows a little more, it seems.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I thought the other way, but then when the Christian guy said I was going to hell, yeah, fuck that guy. I'm going with Parker.
That's when your opinion should have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to talk more about the problem of evil and the hell, because there's a lot of that's where all the real craziness was going down. And Parker had to take his phone call. Okay,
if you end your live, it ends on my end too, right?
How
does that work? Or do I just hit the big red leave studio button and it stops?
Yeah, and maybe I think you should. Well, actually, no, I don't know. Wait, no, can you? Oh, yeah, I can kick you. I can remove you because people have had this before. Where if I end, I think they have to rejoin to leave. So I'll remove you.
Okay.
Say if you want to say bye to your audience.
I don't have an audience. There's probably like 2 people in there. Well, thank you for being here. I hope it wasn't as brutal as it was for us.
Hang on, Brennan. I got to go over to chat, and you got to re-say that.
Well, I do hope Big Soda got something out of this, because that was like the whole point of this, was to try to get clear on some things. So hopefully that was accomplished.
Yeah, no, I know infinitely more now. Still confused, but you know.
Well, of course you're still confused because you brought up infinite, and infinites are impossible, right?
I'm stuck in an infinite loop of confusion. But my PSR got me out of it.
An infinite loop of talking about the PSR. Okay, the worst kind of infinite hell. All right, thank you guys. See you guys tomorrow. God bless Brandon. God bless you, Big Soda, and God bless the chat. And thank you, Hank. Thank you, World Radio, and thank you, Love Is Light. Sincerely, and see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bow 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 bow.